RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Renner Garage Door has you covered. Renner's been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. RennerDoorSTL.com.
RENNER. RENNER.
Okay, 3, 2, 1, hit it.
Chris Ranji, Amy, Mark Scores. The Chris and Amy Show.
You know who it is.
Also, if you didn't know, this is called The Show.
On 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Good frigid morning, friends. You thought I was going to say something else, didn't you? Yeah.
There was like
whoa.
1,000th of a second.
Like he's really going for it today.
I did. I thought, because I did tell you.
What?
Let's come out of the gate hot. It's going to be great.
I did.
I said I was going to come out
What
of
if
the
I
gate
started
hot.
with? What if I just started the show with a swear word? Talk about coming in hot.
No such thing as bad publicity.
That's right. We'd all be in trouble. I think you'd be the only person not in trouble. Pajeski would be in trouble.
Yeah.
I would be in trouble.
I think Steve would be like, I'm going to throw you in trouble too. And I would say, why am I in trouble? He's like, well, because it's a team. It's your
you
show.
get thrown into trouble. You're not. It's not jail. 314-436-7900. That is a phone number. You know what to do with the phone number. You know what to do with the Odyssey app. Listen to the show. Leave us voice messages right from the app. Super simple. There is a button that says leave a message. You do it, record it, send it to us. Try to keep it under like 30 seconds just to be nice to us and kind to our server. And if you want to watch the show, you can do that too. We have Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter at Chris Amy KMOX.
Time now for the top of the order. The top 3 stories everyone will be talking about.
The President of the United States says there is no going back on his plans to just take Greenland. We will talk to Dave Simons at 10 o'clock, talking about the impact on the economy.
Okay. A data center, another one, is being proposed in Franklin County. This would be next to the gorgeous Shaw Nature Reserve. I am losing it!
Congratulations to the Fighting Ackermans. Indiana University has won the national championship in college football by beating the feckless Wheelers. Actually, it was a pretty good game last night. Really good game. Indiana defeated Miami, and it ended on a late interception. Under a minute to go, it happened. But congratulations to Indiana doing the unthinkable. And Tom Ackerman is probably hungover as you could possibly be. He was off yesterday.
He's still stumbling around the streets of Miami.
Yeah.
Don't you think so?
Yeah, good for him,
Yelling
man.
at people.
You know, the last time the Bears were in the Super Bowl was in Miami.
In
2006. It was 20 years ago.
20 years ago.
19 years ago.
Hey, I saw this briefly, and I really hate to just... But I did see briefly that the last 2 undefeated teams in college sports were the Indiana basketball team and now the Indiana football team.
Sounds about right. Yeah, Indiana, there hasn't been a 16-0 team, and gosh, I forgot what the number is, what the year is, but it's been a crazy amount of time. So congratulations to Ackerman. He is expected to be back tomorrow, I think. But, I mean, it's got to be, we weren't planning to start the show on this, but It has to be just, I couldn't even tell you what it would be like for my college team to win a national championship. Got pretty close a couple of weeks ago with football with the FCS, which is a different division than where Indiana plays. But I can't even imagine what it is like for a sport that you root for and, you know, you've gotten behind your entire life. And in the case of Indiana, that's never been a football school. It's always been basketball. Bob Knight, all that stuff, you know, historically, famously, a basketball school. And to be where they are now, winning a national championship, that I wish I knew what that felt like. It's got to be special.
Well, we want to hear from you today because, like we said, a lot of topics to hit, and we want to hear your feedback. 314-436-7900. You can call or text. The text line has been just absolutely stellar this week so far. Really, you guys have really stepped up, done a great job.
I think they've done better.
Yes, you've done better. I'm livid about data centers and how they're popping up everywhere. They just seem so dystopian to me. But a quick follow-up, the Joe Buck tweet that we talked about yesterday regarding Lambert Airport when he took a picture of an empty security line for Lambert Airport and said, total mayhem. And then
mockingly or jokingly, yes.
Yes, because there was no mayhem. And then it continued this bigger conversation about someone noting who follows cities and their rises and their falls. That St. Louis is, quote, washed the whole region, noted the Fortune 500 companies that we've lost. And a lot of that is very real. And it is sad in a lot of ways that St. Louis has lost so much. And you know what, Ron? I know we talked about how you have to figure out a way to get people to move to the St. Louis region. And some of that is changing the narrative about, crime and it's a dangerous city, because nobody outside of Missouri knows that St. Charles is 45 or 30 minutes away from downtown. It's St. Louis. The whole region is St. Louis. As the city goes, so goes the region. So, yes, we need to continue to praise the city, change the narrative on crime. I do think, too, we could have a little bit more self-esteem than we do. But I will say this, and we're in the downtown St. Louis conversation more than a lot of people who don't live or work downtown, because obviously the vast majority of people in the St. Louis region don't live in the city proper. I take Highway 40 to work, and every day when I'm driving 40 East and I crest that hill in Midtown or wherever it is, when you can see the St. Louis skyline on the arch, it makes me smile. Like, I still love seeing the arch in the St. Louis city skyline, and I feel a lot of pride. And I like working downtown. I feel cool that I work downtown. As much as we've, talked about it negatively, I don't know if you feel that way, or Matt, you feel that way. I feel cool because I work downtown. I like it.
I don't know if I feel cool working
Really?
downtown, but I think I like working
you've worked
downtown.
in Creve Coeur, and no offense to Creve Coeur,
It's
but
Creve
I
Coeur.
like
And I like Creve Coeur's fine. It's fine.
I like knowing we work downtown.
It feels like a suburb, though.
I like seeing the arch every day. I get off on 14th Street, and then I turn right on Market, and you just see the arch, and you see the old courthouse, and it fills me with pride.
Well, I would always prefer to work in the city, in a city, than work somewhere in a suburb. There's just, and I don't ever really want to live in a suburb if I can avoid it. I think and there's nothing against suburbs. You're okay. Hey, if you like it, you like it. I just don't like suburbs.
I
like living in cities. I like where it's busy. I like being in, ideally, I like being in high rises or something like that, a building where other people live. I like being in proximity to others, and I don't need a yard. I just don't care about that stuff.
That's why there's city people, and city people are city people because I moved to the suburbs. I guess technically Clayton is a suburb. Like we say, it's the Manhattan of the suburbs. But I think because I lived...
Who says that?
It's a joke.
Oh.
But I think because I lived on the perimeter of Forest Park, it had a city-ish feel, right? You're in an apartment,
Central
there's
West
a
End does.
high-rise. Yeah. But when I moved to the woods of Kirk, my friends gave me so much trouble. I caught so much flack because my friends like, suburbs are where your dreams go to die, which is not true, but I get it. But they gave me a lot of flack for that. But like I said, my friends who live in the city, they don't go west of 170. They're like, ugh, west of 170, I pack a bag.
Right. That's what I say. That's what I went to a couple of weeks ago. Went to St. Charles to Main Street. Hadn't been there in years. Went there for, a night. And it's a nice, it's nice. If you were telling somebody who was coming in from somewhere else and driving wasn't a problem, if they were staying in St. Louis and they said, where should we go? Mm-hmm. I would recommend going to St. Charles to Main Street. It's a cool little area, a couple of blocks where there's a lot there, a lot of shops, restaurants, bars, that sort of thing. It's the kind of, you don't see a lot of those around the country, and they have one, and we should celebrate that. That's great, but it's still 30 minutes away from the city itself. And so to me, our issue with downtown St. Louis has always been the same. I think you and I are on the same page on this. It's just that there isn't a lot going on.
Because especially when I was younger, I was the ideal single working, woman to live in one of those awesome lofts downtown. But I didn't for the reason you just mentioned. It wasn't quite me.
There's not a lot unless there's a Blues game or a Cardinals game or a concert. And we do have a lot of those. And it's okay to come down for one of those. It's all right to come down for a concert. You're not going to get murdered. You'll be okay. Trust me.
Unless you run into Ron and he finds out that you haven't texted in.
Then I might, yes. Then I might assault you.
Yeah. We have a texter wants to know, when Creve Coeur, did you work at Creve Coeur Camera? That's not where you work.
No, I did not work at Creve Coeur Camera.
A great place, though. But I will say this. I lived most of my life out in, Wildwood / Franklin County, because sometimes I'll say Wildwood, but for a part of it, it was outside of Wildwood. It was Franklin County.
Mm-hmm.
And I drove 35 to 45 minutes everywhere. And then I moved to Dogtown. And let me tell you, it took about 3 days of living in Dogtown where it spoiled me so much that living in Kirkwood now, I feel like I live so far away.
I feel
like I live so far west because I lived in Dogtown and then I moved to Clayton, as I mentioned, on the park. And I doubled my drive time. Like if I had to get on the highway like through Hanley, it went from 7 minutes to work to 14. And I thought, what kind of travesty is this? I'm not a barbarian driving 14 minutes to work. I'm never, ever moving west of Hanley. Well, I will say this. I did. It was a surprise, but somehow I did. And Kirkwood is awesome, but it feels like I live so far west now, which is hilarious to my family that lives in Franklin County. And they're like, you think you live far west? And I was talking to Jeremy Rutherford of The Athletic. I think he's in the Arnold area. And he was laughing at me saying that I lived far west now. But I'll tell you what.
Those people might as well live on the moon.
City living spoils you. Because my mom said, Amy, how can you grew up in Franklin County area driving that far. Did you forget? I said, yes, the city makes you forget. It's like Neverland in Peter Pan. Mm-hmm. Neverland makes you forget. Dude, a 7-minute commute makes you forget.
Great.
Makes you forget.
It is so good.
It's unbelievable. I could fall out my window into Forest Park.
If you get your commute under 15 minutes, it's amazing.
It is. And
if you're having that, it's wow.
And I will say this.
7-minute commute.
I'm not complaining because it was time for me. Now that I'm in my 40s and I'm an old lady, I really did want a little house and a yard. And it can be hard to get that in Central West End or, Clayton or the city or whatever. Dogtown, I was looking at homes and either they were too expensive, for me, or there just weren't a lot available because it's such a great place. So, yeah, I had to broaden my scope. I had to extend the perimeter. And so I do love Kirkwood, and it is hopping, and the downtown is awesome, and the restaurants and the coffee shops. I love it. I can, be at the Alpine Shop, one of my favorites, pretty quickly. So I do love Kirkwood. My point is it's funny how quickly the city spoils you when you are so quick to get anywhere. 7 minutes.
It is cold as hell right now, and there are people out there who believe we're getting a ridiculous amount of snow this weekend. There are people who are saying, what are you talking about? Well, we'll get to the bottom of it. AccuWeather meteorologist Carl Erickson joins us at 9:30. We've got Dave Simons talking finances and the Greenland stuff and the impact on the economy. That'll be at 10 o'clock. Dennis Dodd covers college football. Indiana won the whole thing. He's with us 10:30. And then Scott McFarland, CBS News at 11 o'clock. All of that happening on the Chris and Amy Show today on KMOX.
Many of you know that my inspiration for becoming an accident attorney was my brother Tim, who was rendered a quadriplegic at age 18. I didn't know what a personal injury lawyer was or what they did, but I soon did. Tim was treated terribly by the insurance company, and I became enraged. It was a constant delay and deny. I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Tim later worked with me for 27 years. Last year, my hero died at age 65. You can see my eulogy for him by visiting mybrothertim.com. He was one hell of a man. Because of Tim, together we built the largest injury firm in the world. and our clients are treated the way I would want my family to be treated. At Morgan & Morgan, nobody is a nobody and everybody is a somebody. If you need our help, visit forthepeople.com on your phone or computer. See you soon, Tim. Morgan & Morgan, forthepeople.com.
Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
What's up, world? It's Von Miller, Super Bowl MVP, chicken farmer, and now host of Free Range. This is a show where I go off the field and off the script. We're talking what's hot music, film, trending news, and everything blowing up your feed. If you love football, you'll feel at home. But if you're here for the vibes, the internet deep dives, the conversation, this is your podcast. Join me every Wednesday. Follow and listen to Free Range with me, Von Miller, everywhere you get your podcast.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait. And don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I'm Dave Glover, and I see clearly now thanks to the doctors. Dr. Greg Birdie, Ranjan Malhotra, Robert Brusati, and Andy Royer. You can too. Just go to youridoc.com.
This is Mayor Kara Spencer. Congratulations, CamelX, on 100 years of great service to the St. Louis region.
A couple of texts on our conversation about how I feel cool working in the city, but how living in the city in about 2 days ruined me for the rest of my life and made me forget 30 years of living, out in Franklin County and the Wildwood area. And we have a 314. Oh, Tony. Tony says, Amy just described why I've been in Maplewood, Richmond Heights, Missouri for 60 years. Love that area. I could not find a house available. Like, the timing and the price range was not right for me. At that time, I had a quick turnaround because the lease was up in my apartment. But if I could get a house in Richmond Heights, Brentwood area, I love those houses. There's so much character.
Yeah, I mean, if you're going in an ideal world, if I had to live in a suburb kind of place, it would be a Kirkwood, Webster Groves kind of thing, I think.
But Richmond Heights is, further east. Like that's what I mean is it's closer to the city.
Yeah, I guess I don't know Richmond Heights that well, other than where all the shopping area, all that stuff is. But I understand the appeal of it. Of course, I know why you'd want more space and a yard and all of that stuff, especially if you have kids or pets or whatever.
John, watching on Facebook, says, I'm proud that I've spent my entire career working downtown. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool to see the arch. I did want to get to this before we get to AccuWeather, because I heard a questionable rumor about a ton of snow on Saturday. from a friend. And I said, that can't be real.
Yeah, when you said this morning,
Yeah.
I was like, what are you talking
Yeah.
about?
He's like, we're going to get 14 to 18 inches of snow on Saturday.
What?
And I
That's
said,
like
no,
the-
that's
that's
not
like the
true.
blizzard we had in the
Yeah,
80s.
That's what I said. I said, it's not true. He said, no, it's true. I said, fine.
Where did he hear this?
He said he heard it on the weather app.
What weather app? Because I looked at a couple of different
So
apps.
did I. I saw it nowhere. So I called him a liar, and then I said, we're going to talk to AccuWeather, which we will.
There is snow in the forecast, but I've not seen anything like a foot and a half. I've not seen that anywhere. Now, I know that one of the stories, I believe it was a KSDK story from one of their meteorologists talking about it.
Yeah.
And they referenced some social media posts out there speculating on this big big snowfall that we're
Yeah, I
getting.
don't
And they
think
said,
it's
well,
true.
the models are too far out for us to be able to determine that. So we'll talk to AccuWeather.
Yeah.
We'll get Carl Ericsson's take on it at 9:30.
And I will say, Carl Eriksson sounds like he plays defense for the Swedish national team. Okay. We have a 314. The texts are coming in now about the areas to live, which I think is awesome. Amy, too bad you didn't choose Fenton to live. It is God's country out here, and we have a Cracker Barrel.
There's a Cracker
That's Matt's home barrel.
That's my home barrel.
That's his home barrel.
Do you go to that barrel?
I do. It's you get a great chicken pot pie there. It's off Highway 44 and close to 141.
And a 618 says Rock Hill is a great place to live. Our kids live there. Webster Grove School District. Rock Hill, love it. You know what's crazy?
Do they have a Cracker Barrel?
I don't think so. I think Fenton might be the closest Cracker Barrel, but you can hop on 44 if you're in Rock Hill.
Every Cracker Barrel's right off a highway, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a major interstate. And I will say this, what I love about the people are talking about Rock Hill, Webster Groves, Kirkwood, Glendale, Oakland, you can go on a walk for 20 minutes and be in 5 different cities. I never know which city I'm in.
Oops, sorry.
At any given time. They're that close together.
Yeah.
The Glendale, Rock Hill, Webster Groves, Kirkwood, Oakland. What else am I missing? There's another one. They're all like smooshed together.
I like that. I like when you've got these neighborhoods / I don't like that they are individual cities with their own police departments or whatever. I think that's ridiculous. But I like when there are cities or neighborhoods that like bump up right next to each other and you don't know where one starts and the other one ends, right? And that was again a lot like living in Chicago. And there were a couple of neighborhoods I lived in where people would say, "What neighborhood are you?" Like, I think I'm Lincoln Park, but it might not. It might be Roscoe Village. I'm not exactly sure.
Yeah.
I like that.
It's fun. Well, and there's all these little signs in the neighborhoods where it'll say, "Welcome to Oakland. Welcome to Glendale." Oh my gosh, I've only been out here for 20 minutes. I've been in, and I know one of my buddies who was a runner, he tried to get the most cities in the least amount of mileage. And I'm pretty sure he hit like 9 cities in 5 miles one time, which is a lot because you could, Wildwood, right? It just like spreads out. You're stuck in Wildwood.
But also,
once you're
there shouldn't be 9 cities in 5 minutes. Again, it goes to our municipality problem that we have here where we have too many of them. We don't have enough people. We don't have enough space to have as many municipalities as we have.
So we do have a 636 referring to God's country being Fenton. Says, does God...
Who said that?
The guy who texted in about the barrel, Matt's
Okay.
home barrel. Because Chris Myhill said Shrewsbury is God's country. Did God only make part of the country? Because my buddy used to say Canada was God's country until he found out they were a liberal country, and now he doesn't talk about them anymore.
What?
Oh...
What a weird thing.
Maryland Heights would be a great place to live if it wasn't for Brian the inspector. Please don't mention this on the air. Oh.
And then he said he must have some real pull because that entire day of broadcast was scrubbed from the internet. No, it's out there. Brian, the Maryland Heights inspector, he's not that powerful. Come on.
It would be a great place to live, except for...
But we heard all kinds of stories about this Maryland Heights inspector. Once we mentioned Brian from Maryland Heights, that a texter told us about, there were so many texts that came in like, oh yeah, that guy sucks. Like, what is he doing? Who is this guy? But he needs to cool it, apparently. When we come back, we'll find out. Are we getting 1.5 feet of snow soon or something? Or is this a big old rumor? Whatever it is, AccuWeather meteorologist Carl Erickson will tell us when we come back on KMOX.
January in St. Louis isn't for hot takes. It's for people who know the game. From Cardinals spring training and NFL playoffs to the transfer portal and the Blues playoff push, the Gas House Gang breaks it all down. Ackerman, Ranji, Miklas, and Claiborne have covered it all, and they break it down the right way.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Daily at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX, America's sports voice.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Michael's Baths. Were you feeling a little embarrassed when the family came to visit for the holidays and all you could think about was your bathroom not quite being up to par? Now is the perfect time to plan ahead for a spring installation of a beautiful new bathroom. At Michael's Baths, we specialize in beautiful, safe bathroom remodels from tub to shower conversions to full renovations, including paint and electrical work. Call 636-775-0800 or go to michaelsbaths.com. Mike is a great guy, does great work. That's michaelsbaths.com.
The St. Louis Symphony Orchestra brings the sweet nostalgia and soul-shattering passion of Tchaikovsky's Fourth Symphony to life this January. This energetic program also features performer Wu Wei, playing a stunning concerto on the sheng, a mouth organ and one of the oldest known Chinese instruments. Don't miss this unique program. January 24th and 25th at Powell Hall at the Jack C. Taylor Music Center. Tickets at slso.org.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Currently, it is 21 degrees, partly sunny, not as cold today. An afternoon high of 41. Tonight, breezy, otherwise mostly cloudy, a low of 30.
Sponsored by Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty 314-325-6888.
Need to sell your home and you want the most money? The name to remember is Gloria Lou. Yes, Gloria Lou with your home sold guaranteed realty at 314-325-6888 and start packing.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live. It's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour and complimentary lunch, or to learn more about our upcoming App University that can help enhance your everyday life. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN.
Tonight, it's men's Pelicans basketball action as they face Duquesne. Pre-game 5:45, tip at 6 on your home for Pelicans basketball. KMOX.
Chris and Amy on KMOX 104.1 FM. You should be on the FM side if you haven't already changed it. Still listening 1120, that's fine, but 104.1 FM is available for you. Amy Marks Kors has a friend who told her that we are getting 14 inches of snow this weekend.
14 to 18 inches of snow.
Let's find out if this is an outright lie. Apparently, there have been social media posts suggesting that we are getting a big snowstorm this weekend. And this is why you can never trust social media. But you can trust AccuWeather, and meteorologist Carl Erickson is with us on KMOX. Good morning, Carl.
Well, good morning, Chris and Amy. That's right. I've heard those rumors as well.
Where's it coming from, and is it true?
Well, somebody will likely get a foot of snow out of this storm. I don't think it's going to be around St. Louis, though.
That's too bad.
In fact, a very unusual situation here where how many times do we hear about, like, okay, there's going to be so many inches of snow in the St. Louis area, but more to the north and west, right? It's always north and west. This is a rare situation where your highest snowfall totals are actually going to be further off to your south. I think places like Fort Smith, Little Rock, Memphis, Nashville, that whole corridor could see 6 or more inches of snow. We're going to kind of be on the northern fringe of that. And the first ingredient coming in this Arctic blast of air coming our way as early as Thursday night. We're pretty balmy as far as January temperatures go up until then. Temperatures in the 40s during the day, actually not too bad here the next few days. Pretty quiet weather. But it's Thursday night when that Arctic push of air comes on in. We'll dip into the single digits. And there we're really in the deep freeze Friday and into this week. And we'll have highs in the teens, overnight lows, single digits, even close to zero at times. And that's the first ingredient for this upcoming winter storm.
So the first time I am seeing a chance of precipitation, this is on the AccuWeather website, but it just like shows a little picture of it, of some stuff coming out of a cloud. So I guess it's up for interpretation. But I had heard, believe it or not, before I heard the 14 to 18 inches of snow, I heard freezing rain. And this is me having no knowledge of this, but I thought it would be impossible to have freezing rain if it's 14 degrees as the high for the day. Wouldn't it just be like snow?
That's a great question, Amy. I get that a lot with temperatures. Actually, it doesn't matter. It can be as cold as it wants to be down here at the surface where we are. The key is it's several thousand feet up in the air. Sometimes you'll get these warm noses where it's actually warmer up above our heads. And what happens is the snow falls out of the cloud. It melts in that warm layer into rain, and as it's falling on down back to the surface, there's just a cold enough layer right at the surface that rain will fall, and it can be 15 degrees. It'll instantly freeze, and that's how you get that glaze of ice. It's basically from that melting snow, and then it refreezes here at the surface where it's still cold.
Okay, so we're not going to get that terrible storm, which to me would have been awesome. I love it, and I feel like the snow that we did get, I left town as it was happening, and then I came back as the other one had just happened. So I feel like I missed out in November.
Yeah.
So I feel like I really missed out. What are we going to get this weekend? Because I have seen on the apps, like a lot of people look at, maybe an inch, something like that.
Right. I'll try to break that down as best I can with the latest information we have. And again, this can always change. We're still several days out. But right now, it looks like it's really off across the deep south into Texas, lower Mississippi Valley, where the heart of this storm is going to be. It looks like a major ice storm shaping up for areas like around Dallas, over toward Mississippi, even over toward Atlanta. North of that's where you're going to have that snow, as I mentioned, those cities across Arkansas into Tennessee. We are going to be on the northern fringe of that snow. And if you don't like a lot of snow, you can actually thank that cold air. As that cold air is drilling on down, it's also bringing a lot of dry air. So we're going to be on the northern fringe of that snow area. Most likely time for the snow to come into St. Louis, probably Saturday afternoon. They'll continue into early Sunday morning. But right now, if I had to put a number on it, we're probably going to be in that 1 to 3 inch range as we're on the northern fringe of that. And again, the further south you go, the higher those snow totals will be. And eventually, as you get into the Red River area, again, Dallas, over toward the southeast, that's where a lot of icing is going to be a big impact. That can cause dangerous travel, trees and power lines down, power outages. So we're expecting a significant icing event further off to our south. Luckily for us, we're not going to have to worry about icing. Maybe a little bit of snow, create some slippery travel, but it looks like we're going to miss out. At least at this point, it looks like we'll miss out on the heaviest snow. Our biggest impact is going to be that Arctic air coming on down here late this week.
So on Saturday, this past Saturday, it did snow in the morning, and it was, big, heavy flakes, and it was on the ground for a while. And unless I'm crazy, it did not get above freezing. I thought it remained pretty cold all day, but that snow was gone off the ground. It melted, at least in the area I lived. So why does that happen? Unless it did get up to like 40 or something and I missed it.
Yep, even with the temperatures below freezing, and even though the sun angle is still quite low this time of the year, it still has enough of that impact even through the clouds during the daytime hours. It can really heat up that pavement. So it doesn't take too much, especially if there's not too much snow already on the ground and the ground hasn't already been super cold. Once that sun's up and the snow lets up, those roads can melt away pretty quickly.
You know, it's so funny regarding that Saturday snow we got. From the city, I was in the city, started the morning in the city, and then made my way a few miles west to the suburbs. And in the city, we got some really big flakes, but it kind of covered the roads. But then, like Ron was saying, it disappeared pretty quickly. And then there was one burst of snow over like the Shrewsbury, Kirkwood area, just a few miles, I should say, east of the city. And it snowed hard enough that the highways were covered. People were going 30 miles an hour. And I think one little neighborhood got almost 2 inches of snow. Then if you went further west, no snow. It was the weirdest thing I've ever seen.
Yep, that's a great point too, Amy. Just like with thunderstorms and those downpours during the summer, sometimes those bands of heavier snow can be more localized. Also, another big impact is that whole urban heat island effect. It can just be like a degree or two difference, but that can make a big impact on how much snow actually accumulates in the heart of a city and then across the suburbs and outlying areas. So typically, you will see some of those higher amounts as you get outside the main city limits there, and like what we saw this past weekend.
Okay, we have someone asking about sunrises and sunsets, and this is a different question that I actually realized I had it over this weekend. So the winter solstice, December 21st, right? The shortest day, longest night. Is that right?
Right.
Yeah. But well, I wasn't sure if I said if my whole premise was wrong. But I had heard like a week before the sun actually sets later in the day. So maybe the sun was setting at 4:47. Well, now it's setting at 4:51, but it was still, the days were still getting shorter because it was rising later. And I guess I always thought that somehow, you know what I mean? It would be more equal, that the sunrise and the sunset, that you wouldn't have shorter days while the sun is staying out longer.
Right. There's a little bit of a lag time, at least, but at least going forward now, we are gaining about a minute or even up to 2 minutes as it accelerates here through the rest of the month of February of daylight. So we are adding a minute or two in the morning for that earlier sunrise. Mm-hmm. And now we're starting to see, you're probably starting to notice that even too, just very subtly into the evening. It's staying lighter a little longer. So we're adding another minute or so onto that each day. And that'll really accelerate here into February and March. So, yeah, but there's a little bit of lag time. Doesn't line up perfectly with the actual minutes, I guess, during the day where it's light. There is that little bit of a lull there. But now things are starting to accelerate as we're getting further away from that winter solstice.
Is that asymmetry because of the tilt of the Earth? Why there's a lag? Why? I just thought it would be a symmetrical change.
No, just as it gets to its point there, the Tropic of Cancer there over the winter solstice, then there's that little bit of a delay as the Earth is tilting back there. So it's just not like an instant switch. There's a couple of days either side there where there is a bit of a delay with the timing, but if you like the lighter longer, then we're starting to see that more and more. So that's definitely some good news there.
All right, Carl. Last thing for you as we say goodbye. What is the likelihood that we do see some sort of winter storm before we finally get to spring and things start to warm up?
Oh, I think this late this week is definitely the best chance of that. May not be a significant amount of snow, but at least impactful, especially with those very cold temperatures. That even a small amount of snow will stick very easily to the roadways. And then beyond that, it's a very active weather pattern here for the rest of the month into at least early February. So we could have one or two more opportunities for an impactful winter storm after this one this week. So I'd say the likelihood is at least greater than 50% that we're at least going to have some sort of impactful winter storm here, by the end of the season.
Well, that'd be very cool. See what you could do for me.
All right, I'll do my best.
I'm a big winter storm guy. I love it. Hey, thank you, Carl. We'll talk again soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
That is AccuWeather meteorologist Carl Erickson with us on the Chris and Amy show. I do feel robbed of a good snowstorm. I left town as soon as we got the last one. Then, man, come on.
14 to 18 inches of snow.
Remember when we were told? I forgot who told us. I don't think it was Carl, but somebody told us weeks and weeks ago that we could be in for it with the winter weather.
But that person said late January into February.
Oh, they did?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Well, I guess we'll see. Did you see this is coming up next? And right now, did you know that FanDuel is turning on playoff mode again for this weekend coming up? Because you know it is Sunday. Yes, it is Championship Sunday in the NFL, and all customers are getting a profit boost pack. And this has been going on for every NFL playoff game day. And during the championship round, you're going to find a pack loaded with multiple profit boosts waiting for you in the FanDuel app. More boosts means more ways to level up your playoff bets. You can pick the matchup you like. You can take your shot on an upset, go with a parlay. You want to build a parlay, you're really feeling it, then you can do that and then use the profit boost and go after even bigger payouts. I know that the Seahawks are favored at home against the Rams. I'm really thinking I like that. 2.5 points right now is the spread. You can apply those profit boosts, get those bigger payouts. If you win, FanDuel.com/Missouri. Go there to get started. FanDuel.com/Missouri or download the app and you can grab your profit boost pack every NFL playoff game day. 21 and over and present in Missouri. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including any token expiration and max wager amount. See terms at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
I'm Piera Palazzolo, VP of Digital Marketing for the American Management Association, a company focused on the management training skills needed to enhance the careers of business professionals. We did our research when it came to the best companies for website development and chose AmericanEagle.com. And we couldn't be happier. AmericanEagle.com worked closely with us to understand the front and back end requirements needed to launch an e-commerce website that could handle the complexities of running thousands of seminars nationwide. Our robust new website and improved SEO saw immediate increases in site traffic and web revenue. If you're in need of managerial effectiveness and success, visit our website at Amanet.org. If you're in need of a website that provides an unparalleled consumer experience, I highly recommend AmericanEagle.com.
Transform your business today. Dial 877-WebNow1 for a free digital consultation with AmericanEagle.com.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house? On the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Start your engine, St. Louis. The St. Louis Auto Show is back, and it's bigger, faster, and more exciting than ever. See the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, and electric vehicles, all at the America Center January 22nd through 25th. From cutting-edge technology to luxury rides and family favorites, this is the ultimate auto experience. Whether you consider yourself a car enthusiast or not, this event has something for everyone. More information at KMOX.com/events.
Well, good morning, kiddo. I love that you're home from college. I've missed you.
Still taking your Nature Made vitamins?
Every day. A multivitamin and a probiotic. You better be taking yours.
Still looking out for me, Mom.
I'll never stop.
Made to care for you every day. Nature Made, the #1 pharmacist-recommended vitamin and supplement brand. Find us in the vitamin aisle. based on a survey of pharmacists who recommend branded vitamins and supplements.
Hey guys, Glover here with my very, very good friend, Dr. Kathy Maupin at BioBalanceHealth.com. If you have reached that certain age and you're just not feeling very well and nothing's working the way it used to work, go see Dr. Kathy. She is not only a medical doctor, she is a patient of this bioidentical hormone replacement therapy. It absolutely works. It's a long-term solution. She is an artist when it comes to helping you with your hormones. BioBalanceHealth.com for Dr. Kathy Maupin.
The Chris and Amy Show is video streaming now on KMOX's YouTube, X, and Facebook pages. Click and subscribe. Now, did you see this? With Chris and Amy.
Well, I dislike this a lot.
Okay.
There's a new plan that would allow for self-driving taxis in Missouri. You've heard of Waymo, how they're preparing to launch Waymo in St. Louis. We've already seen Waymos doing training data trips around the St. Louis city streets. Well, this new plan would also open the state's roads to autonomous semi-trucks.
Oh, yeah.
And
you knew that was
commercial
coming.
truck drivers are voicing opposition. Yes. Well, they call it both a job. Well, let me phrase it this way. They call it a job killer that poses safety issues. Absolutely. I keep seeing these videos of Waymos not able to navigate around intersections when the lights go out or maybe they're blinking. I've seen Waymos pull onto train tracks and trolley tracks and be hit by trains and trolleys.
Yeah, that just happened about a week or two ago.
A Waymo that was spinning in circles in a parking lot and the doors were locked, so a guy missed his flight in Arizona because he was stuck in a spinning Waymo in a parking lot. And now you want to tell me we want to have driverless semi-trucks on our highways?
Well, I think they already are in a lot of places, right?
Semi-trucks?
Yeah.
I've never seen
Well, I knew that was a thing and it was coming. And that was one of those, look, when I am on the highway, I get very irritated with truck drivers a lot.
Really?
Especially when they get in the left lane and they just hang there for a while. They do it for many, many miles.
I feel like
Okay,
they don't
so
do that a lot, though.
It does happen. I've taken a lot of trips up north, back and forth over the years, and it happens way more than I would like. And even with that, I have been for years, the last couple anyway, when this self-driving truck thing became a reality, I've still been defensive of truck drivers, thinking, well, I don't want this to become a profession that's just gone. So you have all these, I think it's something like 100,000 or 200,000 truckers in the country. Well, then what are you going to do? Wipe all of that out? So you're just going to have driverless trucks?
But
how much stuff can we possibly automate? I don't
know.
At some point, we're automating too much.
And I just think the risk is way too high. I would say this. If they said driverless trucks would somehow create 200,000 jobs, I would say absolutely not.
Bet they don't.
Trust it. I don't trust it. Criticisms of the bill were leveled by firefighter, a school bus driver, and a trial attorney talking about the challenges, the safety issues, and the job loss. And Jerry Wood, president of the Teamsters Local 955 in Kansas City, said, quote, "I'm sure a computer can drive a truck. What I'm not sure of is if a computer can stop on the side of the road and look and see if the chain is loose on his load that's going to slide off."
Right. There you go. There's just some nuance that only a human can do. And yes, humans can make mistakes, but there's something about this that makes me very uncomfortable if we're completely eliminating humans from the equation. This is more of a, did you feel this? Did you feel the earthquake?
I don't know.
3.5. And
What time?
1:27.
Oh my gosh, I was just going to say, if I did feel it, it was at 1 o'clock because I woke up at like 1 something and I just like, what did I hear? But I thought it was my furnace because when the furnace system kicks on and off, it's kind of loud and it can make little rattling noises. But I definitely woke up at 1 something because something woke me up. But I didn't necessarily recognize what woke me up.
Yeah, and I've seen that originally it was a 3.8, but it was adjusted between 3.5 and a 3.8 magnitude earthquake. And it was felt here in St. Louis by many people. I personally did not. Nothing woke me up. But yeah, we had an earthquake. Also, Amy, did you see what happened in Michigan? Because they had a pretty bad snowstorm in western Michigan.
I did.
And on I-96,
Yes.
I-196, so Interstate 196, a 100-car pileup.
Did you see the drone footage of it?
Yes. Insanity.
Just like semi-trucks and cars, and they're smashed together, and they're, off the road on the highway. I don't even know how you begin to clean that up. I will say...
The highway has been reopened finally.
When I went skiing last year, and I drove to Colorado in March. And I was going to drive home on one day, and I had seen that there were going to be 60 to 70 mile an hour winds in Kansas on that day. Now, if anyone's made that drive from St. Louis to Colorado, obviously you're in Kansas, tons of semi-trucks, but it's pretty windy anyway, right? Because it's just flat fields for hundreds of miles. And I remember thinking I'm kind of uncomfortable with the idea of 60 mile an hour winds and all these semi-trucks. So I called my friend who lives in Colorado and I said, hey, can I stay an extra day? Instead of leaving on Friday, can I leave on Saturday? I'm going to spend the night at your house and I'll just do the trip in one day. Well, that was a blessing because there's this area near like Hayes, Kansas, and Colby. It's basically western Kansas.
Yeah.
What I didn't anticipate, not just the winds, but it kicked up a dust storm. And the dust storm was so bad that dozens and dozens and dozens of cars and trucks crashed. I want to say like 12 people died.
Oh.
The highway was closed for 36 hours because when I drove home on Saturday, they diverted traffic for 40 miles off of Highway 70.
Wow.
Into, through these small towns in Kansas and around. And it was declared a state emergency. The governor spoke. And I thought, oh my gosh, that just seems like just an absolute nightmare.
So up to 12 people were injured in this 100-car pileup. Between 9 and 12 is the estimate. Nobody died, which is pretty remarkable with a 100-car pileup. Because you've seen some of those pileups happen.
Yeah.
And how there could be some really bad wrecks where cars just are completely out of control. They smash into another car. People get seriously hurt or killed. Allegedly, that did not happen here. Amy,
I'll just say this one was 50 cars and 8 people died in the windstorm.
Did you see that the Hall of Fame for National Baseball Hall of Fame, the announcements will be made today of who's getting inducted in 2026? And former Cardinal Carlos Beltran is on the ballot. And it's difficult to know how he's actually doing because not every baseball writer who submits a ballot makes that ballot public. So we don't really know. But he, at least with the public ballots, and there is a ballot tracker out there that you can go find. He's over 83% right now. He needs 75 to get in. So we'll see what those anonymous ballots or unreported ballots say. But it looks like Carlos Beltran might find his way into the Hall of Fame. We'll find out at 5 o'clock today.
Lastly, as we go to break, it's National Squirrel Appreciation Day.
Oh.
That's it. That's all
What do you do, just not run them over?
Try not to.
I've killed one once.
I cried. I hit one and I cried.
I hit one on I-55.
Oh, that's sad.
Well, I shouldn't have run in front of my car. I was doing the 75.
They're too indecisive.
They really are. When we come back, Dave Simon. I was going to say something about me being a little squirrely. When he's like, hey, you want to get coffee? I'm like, I'm a little squirrely today. So the president is not backing down on wanting to take Greenland. Dave Simons will tell us what that does for the economy, good or bad. Dave Simons joins us next on KMOX.
Hey, St. Louis City SC fans, mark your calendars now. The Boys in Red return to Energizer Park to kick off Season 4 Saturday, February 21st. And you could be there for the dawn of a new golden era of St. Louis soccer. Go to stlcitysc.com/tickets and reserve your seat now for the MLS home opener versus Charlotte FC. Limited quantities remain. See you soon, St. Louis.
Parts.
But there's one more thing you may not be thinking of us for that can help maximize your next project's total value. Our pre-project planning services are designed to help you win the bid, save on labor costs, and keep your installers productive across your entire build. The sooner you call us, the better. Because when we're there from the beginning, we can anticipate your needs and help you solve problems before they become problems. Yep, Graybar does that.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Are you 50 or older? This news is for you. The CDC recommends you get vaccinated against pneumococcal pneumonia. Even if you're healthy, your age puts you at risk. People 50 or older are over 6 times more likely to be hospitalized with pneumococcal pneumonia compared to adults 18 to 49. Just one shot can help protect you. Learn more and schedule at vaxassist.com. That's VAXassist.com. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Hey, Cardinal Cowboy here. Who would have thought a car crash would have led to charities, TV shows, and cheering with the best fans in the world? I'm thankful for every day. And so are my friends at Renner Garage Door. They've been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. With help from trusted brands like Delden, Amar, and LiftMaster, honest family-style service you can count on. So giddy up and get your free repair or replacement quote today. Giddy up!
RENNER, RENNER.
Celebrating 100 years of informing and entertaining. KMOX AM St. Louis, KMOX FM Hazelwood, the voice of St. Louis.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
It is 10 o'clock and we've got partly sunny skies, 21 degrees in downtown St. Louis. I'm Debbie Monterey. A 3.8 magnitude earthquake centered southeast of Springfield, Illinois, could be felt overnight as far away as St. Louis County. We asked an expert at St. Louis University for some analysis.
Professor Emeritus Robert Herman's work with the Earthquake Center at SLU is known throughout the world. He says the Ullman quake is best explained.
The crust here in the Midwest is very old. There's some probably some ancient faults in there, and it just happened at this particular time. Something broke and moved, and we had a shake.
Herman says it's not strange that a tremor like this in the minor category could be felt so far away, as the Earth's crust in this part of the country is very efficient in transmitting seismic signals, as opposed to, say, California. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
President Trump is set to go to Davos, Switzerland tomorrow and is bound to focus on getting control of Greenland over the objections of European leaders. Meanwhile, BBC correspondent Nick Beek says the French president is seeking more dialogue with Trump after they leave Davos.
Some have viewed the painstaking European attempts over the past year to manage Donald Trump as shrewd, others as sycophantic. This could be the moment we see what impact, if any, they've made.
A pardoned January 6th rioter is set to go on trial on child molestation charges.
44-year-old Andrew Johnson will be tried on child molestation charges February 9th. He was arrested last July, nearly 6 months after he and more than 1,500 Capitol attack defendants were pardoned by President Trump. Johnson is accused of molesting a victim for months in Hernando County, Florida. Johnson allegedly tried to silence the alleged victim in the case by offering a payout. A police affidavit alleged Johnson told the victim he had been pardoned for storming the Capitol and was being awarded $10 million as a result, money he would put in his will. Steve Kathan, CBS News.
At least 33 other pardoned January 6th rioters have been rearrested, charged, or convicted of additional crimes, including threatening to murder members of Congress, child sex assault, and reckless homicide. From the business desk, sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com, Bi-State Development is spending an extra $1.5 million to fix a 1.5-inch measuring error. The agency admits new Siemens train cars were built too tall for the downtown tunnels, a major engineering oversight that COO Ron Forrest is addressing now publicly.
As many of you know, the rail vehicle project had a rocky start, but we brought the team together. All of our partners are involved and now meeting on a bi-weekly basis.
The manufacturer is now shaving down the height of the roof equipment to create a necessary air gap for electrical lines.
More sun than clouds this afternoon, becoming breezy and not so cold, high 42. Increasing clouds, breezy tonight, though 32. Tomorrow, breezy with clouds giving way to sunshine, the high 44. Thursday, sunshine dimmed by high clouds, the high temperature 38. Much colder Friday. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
Right now it's partly sunny and 21 degrees. The weather sponsored by Meadowview Memory Care. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Discover Meadowview Memory Care in Arnold, a small, secure community on a beautiful campus. Enjoy peace of mind with all our inclusive rates and comfortable private suites. Schedule your tour today at rspseniorliving.com.
Chris Ronchi, Amy Markscores, because life is too short for boring radio. 104.1 FM KMOX.
Well, we're excited to talk with our good friend, as we do every Tuesday, Dave Simons, partner and managing director of One Private Wealth. Dave, thanks for joining us again. The people demanded it.
I'm going to have to get my agent to talk to KMOX and up the pay a little bit.
Let me slow you down just a bit. Okay. When we say the people demanded it, it was just the two of us.
No, we had texts.
It was just Amy and me and maybe Pajeski a little bit.
Not true, because I even told Dave the people were texting in last week.
That was my mom and sister.
Yes.
But thank you, family.
Yeah. Matt's very happy about it. It's one less thing he has to do. So he loves when
he
loves when you're on. So this the thing about Greenland, and we all know what the president has done here. He wants to take Greenland, and it's a weird policy. How does it affect the markets, though?
Well, look, if he does it the way that I think most people would prefer, and that is through negotiation. And other people can debate whether this is something we should even be spending our time on, maybe not. I'll just look at it purely from the financial side of things. If it's done through normal channels, it really won't have much of a hiccup in the financial markets at all. But if you do it by force, like he has threatened, but we do have to separate this, is this just typical Trump negotiating tactics? Who knows? But if worst case, and I don't think this will happen, but worst case, we actually take it by force, you cannot overstate the damage that would be done to the most powerful financial entity in the world today, and that is the U.S. bond market. You do not mess with the bond market. In fact, I'll go back to the early 90s. James Carville, who was part of the Clinton campaign back in the early 90s, he had a great line. He said, if there was reincarnation, I used to think that I would like to come back as the president or the Pope or a 400 baseball hitter. Personally, I would pick the latter, but he said, but I've changed my mind. I would come back as the bond market because you can intimidate anybody. And he said it out of frustration because Bill Clinton was trying to get certain things passed, and the bond market would not have anything, didn't want to have anything to do with it, and would sell off, and yields would spike, and it would just cause all kinds of financial mayhem, and they would have to back off. And by the way, let me remind you, that's exactly what happened last April on Liberation Day. The stock market selling off when President Trump first announced tariffs, that's not what got the Trump administration's attention. It was the bond market that was forcing yields to spike higher. And there was concern that maybe some bank lending channels would start to freeze up a little bit. That's why they backed off. So you start going in and messing with the US dollar, the bond market, and all that, which probably would happen if we take it by force, then it's Katie bar the door. And I don't mean to be hyperbolic here, but that could happen.
So, Dave, just to play this out in a very practical way, if you were talking to someone who's, I don't know, not super savvy, but also when it comes to financials, but also co-hosts the show, and was asking you, like, okay, so Katie bar the door, what should I in St. Louis be prepared for? What could some of those realities be?
Well, first and foremost, you don't panic, because I look at the markets and how they've reacted today. Yes, the bond market is selling off a little bit. No surprise. Gold is going up. Silver's going up. No surprise. Stock market's selling off a little bit, but controlled. No surprise. I think Wall Street is giving this whole issue the benefit of the doubt to say, there is no way we're actually going to put boots on the ground, start shooting at our NATO allies to take this land over. Nobody's really believing that we'll go that far. So far, the sell-off is a little muted. I think that that's appropriate. So in answer to your question, Amy, I don't think you do anything. However, let's go ahead and war game this thing out. If that really were to happen and we took it by force, what investors need to look at is, what are the things that are going to be hit the hardest? And it's the aforementioned bonds. If you own short-term bonds, things like that, you probably won't see much damage there. But if you own 20 and 30-year U.S. treasuries, those things will get hit hard. And what will probably do well is gold and silver and commodities like that. So again, no panic. You don't make any major moves now, but just kind of have that plan B off to the side. Talk to your advisor about any potential changes to the portfolio if indeed the worst case scenario plays out.
When something like this happens, which a reasonable person would look at and say, this is not good for the vast majority of people in the country, what sorts of people does it actually benefit, though? Because to me, I will guarantee you there are elites. There are some elites in this country that would get handsomely rewarded if something like this goes down, but the rest of us would suffer for it.
Well, the people who are hoarding gold and other commodities would probably do very well. The big oil companies would probably do extremely well. So when you're talking about some of the elites in these industries, I don't want to say they're licking their chops, in glee over this, but in answer to your question, those are the areas that would probably do very, very well. And look, I get on the surface of why this would have our interest. And President Trump is not the first president to look at the potential takeover, buyout, whatever it is, of Greenland because of its strategic location. Look, the only thing separating Greenland from Russia is the North Pole. So strategically, it makes sense. Also, with all the different mining and materials that are available there that we just do not have, I get that. If you can negotiate it and everyone's happy, then fine, the markets will be happy and we'll all say, okay, fine. But if we do it by might, that is not good for the average Joe. It just isn't, because they're going to see their 401ks probably suffer, not just stocks, but on the bond side as well.
Well, and I know the bonds probably speaks to this, but as we look at Donald Trump threatening to, take Greenland by force or using tariffs to bully allies into supporting him, obviously this supports Putin's argument that he should take Ukraine, or China's argument that they could take Taiwan. And that's the geopolitical side of it. But economically, we just saw the UK is approving this controversial Chinese super embassy. Is there a chance that the UK could say, the United States seem fickle, maybe we should start having more economic ties to China?
That's my fear. I mean, to your point, Amy, we just saw that with Canada saying, okay, well, we've got some new partnerships with China. This kind of thing would have been unheard of, really, up until in recent months. Look, the United States of America is the most powerful financial engine in the history of the world. We've gotten there because of the stability of our government and the stability of the financial system and the full faith and credit that is beholden to the U.S. bond market. When we issue government bonds, the rest of the world knows we are good for them and we will pay them. But when the rest of the world says, I don't know what's going on over there, and now you guys are threatening to militarily take over Greenland, and now you're making enemies of your friends, I don't know that we want to own your bonds anymore. A lot of people, almost to the point of conspiracy theorism, but have said, well, if China and everybody starts dumping U.S. bonds on the open market, that could crush the economy. And I've always poo-pooed that idea. Look, they're not going to do that. That would end up hurting them. Well, what you would have is not necessarily to hurt us. They just can't be convinced that they can rely on the U.S. anymore as that financial stability anymore. Again, this is getting into some kind of dystopian outlook. And I don't mean to do that because I don't think that we're going that far. But the odds aren't zero anymore. And it's something that we just all need to pay attention to.
Okay, so whatever's going on now in terms of whatever happens economically in the future, we've talked about relationships with other countries and how the United States has had many, many allies over the years and have built this up going back to World War II and even in, before that, where we've established all of these relationships. And that those can be undone fairly quickly. Let's say we as a country move on to a different administration 3 years from now. Is it the kind of thing that could be repaired? Like the sentiment, the confidence that other countries have in our economy, can that be repaired?
Not overnight. It can be over time, Chris, but I don't see it overnight because
When you say over time, are we talking like decades or?
I don't think that far. I think it would take at least a full administration to bring back the trust that perhaps we had lost, and maybe even a second administration. So no, not decades, but certainly years that it would take. They're going to be, look, we're talking about alliances. Very strange bedfellows now are being made around the world with countries that would have never talked to each other before. You don't just change that overnight in a new administration and say, okay, the new sheriff's in town and we're going to play nice again. No, I'm sorry. We've already established these new trade agreements and they're in place for 10 years. So it's going to take a while. So this is... Again, I always when I speak like this, because I'm not one given to hyperbole at all. I've always been kind of the middle of the road analyst in all this kind of stuff. So I want to be very clear that this is not something that I'm predicting. We're not changing our portfolios around. In fact, we're making no moves today. But it's something that we just have to have in front of us as we game this thing out to say, if it does go off the rails, we need to be prepared for a new, different world order. We are still number one militarily, but in terms of trade and in terms of our economy, those things would suffer. You can't get around that.
It's so frustrating, Dave, because I feel like a very basic premise or foundational understanding of, geopolitics and global economy is that alliances amplify power and strength. And I don't know why we would want to be on an island here.
Yeah, there are some things that I think the president was wise to bring to the table to say, look, we are funding the majority of NATO. We provide the military might, and just as importantly, we provide the financial muscle, and we would like other countries to start bucking up. That's a very fair argument. And so, using his typical hardcore negotiating tactics, he was able to extract a higher percentage of pay. I think that's all good, but that's just not good enough, apparently. And now we want to start getting into some of our own nation building and taking over other pieces of property that I thought maybe the country had left behind a long, long time ago, but perhaps not. So it is a new, different world order. You were talking about post-World War II and the decades that it's taken to get these alliances and relationships built up, to build up the trust. I'd hate to think that they can be undone overnight. But we know, if you know the history of the world, that has happened before, and it'll happen again someday.
Dave Simons, partner and managing director at One Private Wealth. We always appreciate you. Thanks for talking with us today.
Chris and Amy, thank you so much. We'll talk to you next week.
Dave is the best, and we love talking to him. Did you know, Amy, that there are some college athletes, and one of them just played last night, who allegedly, at least according to him, hasn't taken a college class in years, but still was playing college football?
That's wild.
It's very funny, actually. We're going to talk about that. And by the way, Indiana, congratulations to them. They did win the national championship. Dennis Dodd's going to talk about that with us at 10:30. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
If you need a garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of your choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Dreaming of summer with this crazy weather? Me too. And nothing says summer like the Muni, which means it's officially time to start planning your nights under the stars. Good news, Muni season tickets are on sale now. The 2026 season includes Hairspray, Shrek the Musical, South Pacific, Disney's Newsies, Ain't Too Proud, The Life and Times of the Temptations, Meet Me in St. Louis, and Something Rotten. See all 7 shows starting at only $126. For tickets, visit muni.org.
It's about time pros had one partner for the whole job. Why juggle 10 different suppliers when one can do it all? At the Home Depot, you'll save with pricing built for pros. You'll stay on track with job site deliveries, schedule, next day, or same day. And you'll get every size, every finish, every job lot quantity you need. One partner for the entire job. That's how pros get more done. The Home Depot Pro. It's about time.
You know that Big Bargain detergent jug is 80% water, right? It doesn't clean as well.
80% water? I thought I was getting a better deal because it's so big.
If you want a better clean, Tide Pods are only 12% water. The rest is pure, concentrated cleaning ingredients.
Oh, let me make an announcement.
Attention shoppers, if you want a real deal, try Tide Pods.
Stop paying for watered-down detergents. Pay for clean. If it's gotta be clean, it's gotta be Tide Pods. Water content based on the leading bargain liquid detergent.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck, and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax. They know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Hey guys, Glover here with my friends at Michael's Baths. Were you feeling a little embarrassed when the family came to visit for the holidays and all you could think about was your bathroom not quite being up to par? Now is the perfect time to plan ahead for a spring installation of a beautiful new bathroom. At Michael's Baths, we specialize in beautiful, safe bathroom remodels from tub to shower conversions to full renovations, including paint and electrical work. Call 636-775-0800 or go to michaelsbaths.com. Mike is a great guy, does great work. That's michaelsbaths.com.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at lancedrurylaw.com.
Hello, I'm John Rooney. Congratulations to KMOX on 100 years strong, truly making KMOX the voice of St. Louis.
Did you have class yesterday? If so, what class? And I know there was a pep rally on campus. Just what has it been like being you as a student this week, particularly yesterday?
No class. I graduated 2 years ago, so...
Probably shouldn't have said it the way he said it. Because I don't think it's as bad as it sounds. That for 2 years he has not been going to any classes.
He being Carson
Beck is the quarterback at Miami, who last night threw an interception with about a minute to go, less than a minute, actually. It was about 40 seconds or something like that.
Class.
Well, maybe he did do that, and that class was taught by an imbecile, and so he threw that ball to a defender. He underthrew it. So in doing so, that pretty much sealed it for Indiana, who won the national championship last night. And Beck was enrolled at Miami after playing at Georgia. So his freshman year at Georgia was right when the 2020 pandemic happened. So he earned an extra year of eligibility because the NCAA decided that all those student athletes were not going to lose eligibility because of that lost year. So that's one reason that he is 23 years old and still able to play.
But, and Matt, you're a sports guy too, so jump in on this. But with college sports now, Carson Beck, because of NIL, is probably making a good amount of money, no doubt. And he's not taking classes, which again just sounds like a pro athlete now, like NFL junior varsity is what he's on. So he sounds like a pro athlete because he's making money. He's not even taking classes, but he's enrolled in what? If he's enrolled at Miami, but he's not taking any classes.
He enrolled, but he's not re-enrolling for the spring. So he's basically done now. He had enrolled as a graduate student, which you are allowed as long as you have eligibility.
But he said
you can be a graduate.
Classes, though, in 2 years.
He did say that. I don't know what he means by that, but some classes some classes, as he pointed out, can take longer than one semester. And again, he didn't specify. I don't know what those are. But I'm not so naive to think that a lot of these guys who are playing are taking the hardest workload.
Right.
You know, they're probably taking the bare minimum of classes they have to, depending on where they are. How good they are as players or what their professional prospects are. But let's not pretend like these universities are using them for their benefit. Because every time a team does well, like Indiana, and does well in a major sport, that is the absolute best marketing tool that university has to attract more students. So this championship run by Indiana and by Miami is going to result in much more interest in those universities and therefore an influx of students.
Now,
so it pays off for them.
Yeah. And I mean, I am super cynical. Maybe I'm more cynical than I should be when it comes to like college teams and football teams, Alabama, Miami, whatever. They only care about football. My guess is it's like, yes, you have a little helper and your little helper does all your classes and homework for you. Like, I would be shocked if any of these guys read anything the entire time that they played football because it's about football. Football's all that matters. And so
depending on where you are, again, if you're
at Notre
somebody,
Dame, you're probably taking classes.
I don't mean where. I mean, like physically what university. I mean how good of a player you are. So like if you're a Division I athlete, you're good at that sport. But if you're the last person on the roster, I think you probably understand that you need to apply yourself in school a bit because your postgraduate life is not going to include football.
So the thing that I don't understand is how he said he graduated. He hasn't taken a class in 2 years because I know, and this is also a women's sport. So she is not getting any NIL money, right? And at UNC, red-shirted.
Well, some women, depending on the sport you're in.
She's not. Yeah, she's not. So, and she's at UNC, red-shirted the first year, played 3 years, and then graduated, right? But now she got into the business school. I mean, she is a smart kid. Got into the business school. And a lot of, with female athletes, there's no NFL for you to go to, so you got to be good at school. Goes to the business school, is enrolled, is taking graduate classes, but gets to play that fourth year because she's a student.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense to me. Okay, because I didn't even know. I was like, I didn't know you could play when you're in graduate school, when you're getting your master's. Well, yep, I'm in the business school. I'm getting my master's, and I have 1 more year left. That makes sense. The whole I graduated and haven't taken a class in 2 years makes no sense to me. What did you enroll in?
Well, I don't know. And I'm curious. I mean, it doesn't really matter in the end because we know why he's at that university. He's trying to be a professional football player too. I'm just curious what he means by that. If maybe his timeline is off, if it hasn't been 2 years really, or if he slipped up. I have no idea what that is. But I'm not going to pretend like I don't know why the university has him there. And maybe,
it's not college sports anymore. Just say that it's pro. I mean, that's what it is.
Well, that's the whole reason that these players want to get paid. We talk about it like, oh, well, you're getting a free education. And yeah, they are, but that's not proportional to what they bring into the university. As I just said, what Miami or how Miami and Indiana are benefiting from this national championship game is it's worth millions upon millions of dollars for each university. So why shouldn't the players get a chunk of that?
But I think it's not just, that's why I think the university winks and nods knowing that a lot of these players aren't doing any work at all. They're not student athletes. They're athletes. There are some student athletes, especially on the women's side, because there's no NFL to go to. There's no NHL to go to. But I would argue that a lot of these so-called student athletes are just athletes.
So technically he has graduated. He was enrolled as a graduate student and was not going to re-enroll in the spring. So but his eligibility was there still. And a lot of it has to do with the pandemic giving him an extra year. Still wild stuff. Indiana won. They are national champions. What a turnaround for that program. Dennis Dodd will talk to us about it when we come back on KMOX.
Hey guys, Dave Glover here from the Dave Glover Show. So, what is my show? My show is 4 different people living 4 different lives, all coming together every day between 1 p.m. and 5 p.m. to talk about life, actual life. Not so much headlines or did you see what Trump did today or XYZ. Never predictable because I never know what I'm going to talk about from one segment to the next. So it truly is unique and unpredictable. Join us.
104.1 FM, KMOX.
Fairwinds River's Edge is more than a place to live. It's a place to belong. Come see why we have been voted Best Independent Senior Living Community for 4 years in a row by U.S. News and World Report. We think you'll like it here, and the experts agree. Come see us for yourself. Call to schedule a tour and complimentary lunch, or to learn more about our upcoming App University that can help enhance your everyday life. Find us online at fairwindsriversedge.com.
What if every time you spent money, you saved money too? With Achieve It Checking from Together Credit Union, you can do just that. Every debit card purchase is rounded up to the nearest dollar, and the spare change goes right into your savings. And here's the best part. Together Credit Union boosts your progress by matching qualifying savings, up to $8 a month. It's a free checking account that helps you achieve more automatically. Learn more, or better yet, enroll today at togethercu.org. Together Credit Union, federally insured by NCUA.
Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Currently, it is 24 degrees. Clouds giving way to some sun this afternoon. Not as cold, a high of 41. Breezy this evening, otherwise mostly cloudy and a low of 30.
This report is sponsored by McKelvey Homes.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan at McKelvey Homes. Have you always wished for a brand new home in an established neighborhood? Select one of our move-in ready custom homes throughout St. Louis, or we will build on your lot. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textingterms.us. Texting enrolls you for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message and data rates may apply. Reply stop, opt out.
This is an important message for all parents of teens. If your teen or preteen is or has been addicted to social media sites such as Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, or YouTube, and they have suffered from eating disorders, body image issues, anxiety, depression, or suicidal thoughts, you may be eligible to participate in a lawsuit for significant compensation. Disclosures by a Facebook whistleblower show Instagram and Facebook know their social media platforms were highly addictive and may have caused eating disorders, body body image issues, depression, and suicidal ideation. It appears these social media companies knew they had been causing serious harm to kids, but have done little to stop it. If your teen has been harmed by social media like Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, TikTok, or YouTube, then you could be eligible for significant compensation. If you'd like to discuss a lawsuit, text LEVEL to 323232, LEVEL to 323232, LEVEL to 323232.
Paid non-attorney spokesperson, Media Advertising Specialists, LLC, is responsible for the content of this ad with principal offices in Chicago, Illinois.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Bernie Nicholas and the Gas House Gang, today at noon on America's Sports Voice, KMOX.
A century of futility is forgotten. The Indiana Hoosiers are the kings of college football.
On ESPN last night, Indiana became the national champion in college football. We're more used to talking about Indiana basketball in that conversation, historically anyway. It's not been about the football side, but they have done it. They won over Miami in a game that really did come down to the wire, so it ended up being a pretty good one, despite the fact Indiana was favored fairly heavily. To talk about the game and the program, what Indiana has accomplished and more, former national college football writer for CBS, Dennis Dodd is with us on KMOX. How are we doing, Dennis?
Good morning, guys. How are you?
We are really good. That was a good game. That one ended up being a lot of fun, and I thought before the game started it might get out of hand, but it never did.
No, I thought it would be close. In fact, I'm patting myself on the back this morning for picking Indiana and Miami with the point. So I was with you all the way. But they had blown out Alabama. They had blown out other teams in the playoff. And now they had to play a true road game in Hard Rock Stadium to win the national championship, but it didn't phase them at all. Number one, because Indiana's fans showed up again. About 60 to 65% of the stadium was Indiana fans. And number two, they are not only the most complete team in the country. We saw that via the blocked punt for a touchdown that reminded of that. But one of the best of all time. I think that's one of the things to consider here. 16-0 hasn't happened in major college football since 1894 in Yale, which is the team that offered Fernando Mendoza before he ended up at Cal. But it also sends a message, guys, that for all the haters out there who said the current model is unsustainable, yes, YouTube can become Indiana. Yes, they have money. Yes, they've recruited players. But the thing that they're doing and the Big Ten is doing and winning 3 championships in a row is weaponizing that financial advantage. And that's what they've done.
So when Alabama became a good college basketball program and, talking about, Final Four possibilities and that sort of thing, it's a weird idea because you think of Alabama as a football school. Indiana, you think of as a basketball school because historically that's what they've been. So how did they get to this point where on the football side they are legitimate?
Yeah, you're talking about this morning. We're talking about the team that until November was the losingest of all time. They are now number 2 with 715 losses. They are also the national champion. How did they do it? Everything came together when they decided to hire Curt Cignetti a couple of years ago from James Madison, largely unknown, a 62-year-old lifer who was at one time Nick Saban's receivers coach and recruiting coordinator when he started at Alabama in 2017. Curt Cignetti gave up a job at Alabama, took a $200,000 pay cut to become the head coach at IUP, Indiana University in Pennsylvania. He's been successful everywhere he went, including James Madison. He took 13 players via the portal with him to Indiana, and just about every one of them hit. And then the biggest thing, they went 11-2 last season, got to the playoff. They somehow hit on Fernando Mendoza, this quarterback from Cal, who was from Miami. His only big offer was from Yale. He decided to go to Cal. And I think the end of the story here is that, a team with no 5 stars, this is one of the first time in history this ever happened, one at all, that you too can do this. Any team can do this if they do it right. And they simply, it sounds like, you guys remember the Instant Replay by Jerry Kramer in the 60s? Remember that book? You probably don't.
Yeah.
Jerry Kramer was a guard with the Green Bay Packers. In a very eloquent book on the Packers' success, he laid out why these very, I would say, boring Packers, they weren't flashy at all, got things done, and won championships under Vince Lombardi. Now, I'm not comparing Curt Cignetti to Vince Lombardi yet, but that's what these Hoosiers do. They block well. They tackle well. They had their receivers coming into this game had only 6 drops all season. I've been to games where teams' receivers drop 6 passes in a game. And they just beat you up physically. And I think that's what you saw really at the end with Mendoza's 4th and 5, stretch over the goal line for the game-winning point.
With Fernando Mendoza, they've got the probable Heisman winner, and they're going to lose him now. So how sustainable is this for Indiana to keep going?
I just posted on Twitter about that. For all the naysayers who say the current state of college football is unsustainable, BS, frankly. We can talk about the money being crazy, but the rules are what they are right now. The key to this, Indiana spent money, but as Cignetti pointed out last night, not as much as you think. And, Mark Cuban didn't get on board really till this season. Yeah. But to do it so quickly and to do it so thoroughly, they got the players, they paid the players, but it's another thing to coach them up, to put them in the right position, to call the right plays, to manage a roster. And I think this is a sport, guys, that doesn't take kindly to Cinderella. It never has. It's been legislated against teams like Indiana to win it all. But my point is, it took until the transfer portal era, until the NIL era, not to separate the haves from the have-nots, to make things more even. And that's exactly what's happened. You're sitting there with Texas Tech. You're sitting there with Ole Miss and an SEC mid-major. Vanderbilt, for gosh sake, had its first 10-win season in history because of the portal. So there's a secret sauce here that these teams are figuring out that the big guys haven't yet. And I think it's great. I love seeing it.
And just, you mentioned Mark Cuban in there, so people are aware who might be listening. Cuban has been a donor to Indiana. That's something like $5 million, $6 million, probably more than that, but I know he's been a longtime donor to the university.
Well, a donor to the university, but until recently, he didn't really donate to football or athletics.
So, Dennis, what you just said about the money, but then also the coaching, is what Indiana did replicable, or is it just it's a unique, they caught lightning in a bottle?
No, I don't think it's a one-off at all. We saw Texas Tech win the Big 12 and get to, the first round? Yeah, the first round. And they exited ignominiously with a 23-0 loss to Oregon. I just mentioned Vanderbilt, who went 10-2, is on the fringe of going to the playoff. I think when teams like that are able to do that, it's not going to be a surprise anymore because, like I said, there is a secret sauce out there to doing this. Everybody warned us, or the coaching experts warned us in the age of the transfer portal, these locker rooms will fall apart. Well, yeah, some have. But the guys that keep it together, like the Cignettis, like the Clark Lees at Vanderbilt, have found a way to do this. And Steve Sarkisian at Texas, the coach there, when this all started, said, you risk being a dinosaur. You either adapt or die. And look, Texas has the best of everything, the most money, but he embraced it. You know, they went out and got transfers, but you still had to coach up guys. You still have to get high school guys and coach them up. The whole thing is, you know, you can't wait for teams and players to develop. What Cignetti did when he came in is turn things around right away. I talked to him at the end of the 24 season. I said, what's the biggest, you know, attraction to this job? And he said $70 million, which is what each Big Ten team gets in media rights money alone. Well, they never had that at James Madison or IUP or Elon, where he won. $70 million can go a long way if you do it right, and he's done it right.
So on the other side, Miami has a quarterback in Carson Beck, who we just talked about, and it got a lot of attention leading up to the actual game. And he said in his pregame press conference that he had not gone to a class in 2 years. Mm-hmm. And that really stuck with a lot of people. And it got some traction because, you know, the thought is, wait a minute, you're a student. Shouldn't you be doing student stuff on top of being a football player?
That was almost totally misleading. I see people reacting to that who haven't seen the actual interview and is at Media Day Saturday. And it was the way he said it. Oh, I haven't been to class. Got his degree 2 years ago. He said he hasn't been to class. I'll tell you what, guys, a lot of players haven't been to class. Since the COVID era in 2020, that ushered in online classes. And as distasteful as that might sound, there's a lot of students and a lot of non-athletic students that do that same thing. Carson Beck was going to class. He had to be eligible because you have to take a certain amount of hours to stay eligible. He's working on a graduate degree. So he was taking those classes online. I've kind of gotten used to it. I talked to JT Daniels a couple of years ago, the quarterback who went to 4 schools in 6 years. And yeah, he said, yeah, that's just the way it is. So he has not been not going to class. He has had to go to class, but he has stayed home like many, many football players and athletes now do in college. They do it at home, you know, on Zoom.
You know, Dennis, in a flurry of cynicism, looking at some of these, especially the big football and basketball programs, you know, the big money makers. I got super cynical and I said, they say they're student athletes. I think they're just athletes now. You hear players not talking about class, you know, having people do school for them. And we've had some, you know, texters that say, hey, my grandson plays football for Purdue, but he's also majoring in finance. Can you disabuse me of my cynicism that these big programs and football and basketball players really are students, that they're not just athletes?
No, I think you're exactly right. I think your cynicism is well placed. I also think there's room for both. We have entered what is truly a pay-for-play era, no matter what you want to call it. When the Indiana cornerback, D'Angelo Pounds, is talking about breaking down his the features he got on his Maserati on a post-game interview, that's what it is. But how is that different than anybody who wants to leave school, whether they graduate early or not, to pursue their dream? And that's what these guys and girls are doing. And if you do it right, you can set yourself up for life. Now, what you're saying is, yes, there are avenues for players who aren't always stars, I guess, to pursue a degree. Absolutely. That's the problem. You know, progress towards a degree. It's a thin piece of ice in the NCAA right now. But there is a way, to do it if they want to do it. It's just that there's so much chaos right now that players can leave. And when you leave, the numbers are out there. When you transfer, you're less likely to graduate. But the NCAA ceded the high ground to that years ago when they lost these court cases regarding these eligibility requirements. So for them to take some high ground about graduation rates is ridiculous. Yeah, they may have gone up, but there's something called the quality of a degree. You can graduate, but what is the quality of your degree? What have you done with it? In the current climate, we have a spot for millionaires who may or may not graduate, and a spot for kids who may want to pursue a degree. I don't think that's wrong. It's not one of those unsustainable models. It may get fixed up someday, but the only way to do it is with collective bargaining. And I think we're already there. We've seen what paying players looks like. The game's never been more popular on ratings, in the stands. You saw the Indiana story. So I'm just wondering, overall, big picture, what is wrong right now?
So with the portal, that's the thing that's causing the chaos. It also allows Indiana to do what they did. Without it, I'm not sure they ever win a national championship, but they're able to make use of that portal. But I think for a lot of people watching, me included, it kind of sucks that you get used to a player on your team, then they're gone in a year. So, there's just too much movement to really establish any sort of relationship with players. Is collective bargaining the only way to fix that?
I do think that, and more people are coming around to that. I'm not speaking in the wilderness. I'm talking about athletic directors and presidents. It's not such a bad thing, and you hear reasons why it can't happen. Well, there are different labor laws in every state. I guarantee you, if you had collective bargaining and Alabama was against unions and other teams were winning championships, they'd change your laws pretty darn quick. But what collective bargaining does is that you can then get in a room and then negotiate what may or may not be a cap. There may not be a cap. That's going to be hard to do. Baseball is the only, not baseball, football. NFL is the only one with one in sports. But at least you can negotiate things like, okay, give us 2 years. Sign a scholarship, stay for 2 years, unless there's extenuating circumstances like abuse or something. But then at least you can roster build. But there are scores of coaches, guys, right now who are resigned to this reality. And I said it earlier, you either adapt or die. It's not worth complaining about right now.
Dennis Dodd covers college football, has for years, and did so for CBS for a long time. We appreciate your conversation. Thank you for being with us today.
All right, guys. Thanks so much.
Dennis Dodd, also Cardinals fan. Dennis is, yeah. I think he's not really happy with the state of the affairs right now.
Not from St. Louis, though. Just a Cardinals fan?
Just a Cardinals fan. Actually, I'm not sure if he's from here. Probably should have asked him
Maybe
that.
he's from Kentucky.
Well, there are a lot of Cardinals fans in Kentucky.
Or Arkansas.
And Arkansas. That's right. And used to be Georgia. But now they got the Braves, right? So not anymore. Scott McFarland will join the show at 11 o'clock today. Got a lot to talk about with him. Scott with CBS News. It's Chris and Amy show. And don't forget, Gas House Gang today at 12. Bernie Miklasz and me on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's time for a $98 furnace tune-up.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. One question I'm always asked is, how did you become the largest injury firm in the world with over 1,000 attorneys and $25 billion in verdicts and settlements? One way was our financial strength. Medical malpractice is the third leading cause of death in America. To prosecute a typical case costs up to $250,000 in case cost. We advance them all. Product liability cases can have similar costs with an army of lawyers on the other side. Automobile insurance companies have the resources to fight. Guess what? So do we. Many law firms simply may not have the financial firepower to work up your case the way you deserve. And we don't charge by the hour. No recovery, no fee. If you have a question about your case or wish to become a client, go to forthepeople.com on your mobile device or computer. 24/7. It's that easy. Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Dial pound law or visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This is a test of the emergency alert system. This is only a test. This has been a test of the emergency alert system. This was only a test.
Nothing makes a gathering great like Eggland's Best Eggs. They're just so delicious with better nutrition, too. For us, it's eggs any style, as long as they're the best. Eggland's Best. Better taste, better nutrition, better eggs.
I'm Ed Evans, CEO of Consumer Cellular. You know, the big wireless companies say they have discounts for people over 55, but unless you're willing to sit on hold and ask, you're probably paying more than you should. At Consumer Cellular, there's nothing to hunt down. We're built for people 50 plus with plans starting at just $20. And our 100% US-based customer service actually answers the phone. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today and get your second month free for a limited time.
Taxes, fees, and other third-party charges will apply. See website for additional details.
This is the story of the one. As the purchasing manager at a manufacturing plant, she knows the only thing more important than having the right safety gear is having it there when you need it. That's why she partners with Grainger for auto reordering, so her team members can count on her to have cut-resistant gloves on hand, and each shift can run safely and efficiently. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Hey, this is Charlie Brennan. Have you noticed loose bricks or missing mortar around your house, on the walls, the patios, the walkways, the porch, or the chimneys? If so, you need to call Morelli Tuck Pointing. 314-645-1387. You might need one of two things: solid tuck pointing, the removal of old mortar with the replacement of new mortar throughout an entire wall or chimney, or maybe just spot tuck pointing. Spot tuck pointing involves the tuck pointing of a particular wall, a chimney, or other masonry surface in an area where it's needed the most. One example might be settlement cracks, usually found above or below windows or doorways. 314-645-1387. Call the company that the Brennans have called when we've needed tuck pointing. Morelli Tuck Pointing, the masonry specialists. Winner of the Angie's List Super Service Award every year since 2005. 314-645-1387, MorelliTuckPointing.com.
Hey, good morning. You're heading to the airport, right?
Yep, thanks for checking. I like the car. How long have you been a rideshare driver?
About 3 years now. I really enjoy it.
Isn't it hard to make money these days with the price of gas being so high?
Not for me. I use Upside, the free app that gives you cash back for every gallon of gas you buy.
Wait a minute. Are you saying you actually get real money back when you get gas with the Upside app?
Yep, I get real cash back every time I get gas.
Does that actually add up to anything?
I'll make around $200 to $300.
Wow, that's serious extra cash. I'm downloading the Upside app now.
Download the free Upside app now to earn real cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. You can cash out anytime, right to your bank account, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code RAIN to get up to a $5 per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code RAIN.
Chris and Amy now. The Dave Glover Show at 1 on the voice of St. Louis, KMOX.
I got some crime news.
Yeah?
Crime update from our buddies over at Fox 2.
There's some crime happening in my bowels. Is that what you're talking about?
Oh, my gosh.
But I got good news.
Crunch.
Real quick, I got good news from my colonoscopy. The results from they took out the things, the little
polyps.
Yeah. And he sent a message to me, and it said, what is this with this doctor speak? He says pathology results from the removed specimen showed normal lymphoid aggregates.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah,
Okay.
I know what that means. Everything's
Matt,
fine.
Will you take this section of audio and keep it handy every time Ron accuses me of derailing a conversation?
Yeah. Well, you were talking about crime.
News.
I thought that's what you
have
meant.
polyps in my colon.
Well, I thought there was a crime going on down there. Jeez. There was a scofflaw. There was a squatter in my colon. They had to take it out.
You were the squatter. At any rate.
Yes.
Crime news. A St. Louis man has to appear in court today because he broke into a building owned by Anheuser-Busch, stole some beers, and fell asleep on the couch.
Okay.
So a
What's the
security
big
guard
deal?
was making his rounds on the campus when he found a man identified as Theron Bailey Kent asleep on a couch in this Anheuser-Busch building as part of the Anheuser-Busch Tech campus on Sydney Street. 2 guards detained Bailey Kent and called police to report a burglary. They learned that he damaged a beer cooler, stole several servings of beer, also damaged an interior door frame. Police say footage showed him climbing under the south gate, entering the south door of the building before stealing the beer and falling asleep on the couch.
Well, look, he just wanted a drink. What's the big deal? They've got plenty of beer there.
Do you think he was high on something else because you have to drink a lot of beer before you don't have, urgency to leave a site after you burgled it. Do you know what I mean? Beer, it would take you 4 beers, 5 beers before you're delirious. I'm like, it doesn't matter that maybe 6 beers if you drink them fast.
Yeah.
So I think he had to have been high on something else because
I don't know.
If he burgled the place, you'd think he would want to skedaddle.
He
had no inclination to skedaddle.
Yeah, you don't want to go back out in that weather. It's been cold.
Maybe he thought it was worth it.
I think it was worth it.
He fell asleep on the couch.
So ICE officers, Amy, are receiving incentives for making arrests, even if that person gets released later. It's an interesting report that has come out recently, and Scott McFarland from CBS News will join us to discuss what exactly is going on there. That is next on KMOX.
If you owe back taxes, listen carefully to rule number 1. Never go up against the IRS alone. They're cracking down, freezing bank accounts, garnishing paychecks, canceling passports. Even your home or business could be at risk. But here's what they don't tell you. The IRS has powerful tax relief programs that could save you thousands if you qualify. That's why smart people call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. Nobody knows these programs like the experts at Optima. Their team of tax attorneys and licensed professionals have resolved over $2 billion in tax debt for people just like you. The IRS is not stopping, so don't wait and don't take them on alone. For tax help you need, for tax help you can trust, call Optima today for a free consultation.
Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
I built this business the old-fashioned way. Hard work and a whole lot of spreadsheets.
Yeah, about that, I upgraded us to Odoo. Odoo puts everything we need, sales, inventory, accounting, on one connected platform. No more juggling systems, no more headaches.
So it all works together?
Exactly.
Odoo is the all-in-one business software that makes running and passing on a business easier than ever. Take your business into the next generation. Try Odoo free at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
At Audion Hearing, our mission is simple: to make better hearing affordable for everyone. We're proud to offer high-quality, rechargeable hearing aids starting at just $98. Clear, comfortable, and ready to use right out of the box. And here's a study worth hearing. Research shows that wearing hearing aids can reduce your risk of dementia by up to 61%. Join over 1 million happy customers and hear the difference today by going to audionhearing.com. That's AUDIEN hearing.com.
Start your engine, St. Louis. The St. Louis Auto Show is back, and it's bigger, faster, and more exciting than ever. See the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, and electric vehicles, all at the Gamerica Center January 22nd through 25th. From cutting-edge technology to luxury rides and family favorites, this is the ultimate auto experience. Whether you consider yourself a car enthusiast or not, this event has something for everyone. More information at KMOX.com/events.
The trusted voice of St. Louis. KMOX AM St. Louis. KMOX FM Hazelwood. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
1 in 4 Americans today are living with a disability. I'm one of them. People with disabilities are extremely talented, resilient problem solvers that have so much to offer. And we've got a trusted ally on our side, an organization we can rely on, Easter Seals. Easter Seals is leading the way to full equity, inclusion, and access to healthcare, employment, and education for people with disabilities, families, and communities. That's my Easter Seals. Make it yours.
Learn more and get involved at easterseals.com.
It is 11 o'clock and we have partly sunny skies. It's 25 degrees, feels like 12 in downtown St. Louis. Could be one of the biggest turnouts for a Franklin County Planning and Zoning Commission meeting in a while. Tonight in Union, a proposed data center is on the agenda.
Probably going to move some things around to accommodate the people that are not related to any of the rezonings or the data center regulations.
Nicole Zilke is Franklin County's planning director. She was tasked with writing regulations for data centers. On the agenda are also several rezoning requests related to that data center.
We've had meetings that have gone past midnight. I'm strapped in. I'm ready to go. So it's the public has stuff to say, and we're going to try to hear from everybody.
That said, Zilke says they decided not to move venues and believes they can accommodate up to 300 people. Did you feel the earthquake early this morning? No damage reported from the 5-mile deep 3.8 magnitude tremor southeast of Springfield, Illinois.
This is a one-off in that particular region.
Dr. Robert Herman's a professor emeritus at St. Louis University whose work with the Earthquake Center there is widely known. He says he's not surprised people in the St. Louis area felt it due to the type of older crust we have here.
The earthquake that occurred in the Wabash Valley in 1968, that was felt, I think, in about 15 states, whereas comparable earthquakes out in the western U.S. wouldn't even be felt more than 100 miles away.
Herman says the big takeaway from this event is the rapidness the quake's intensity and possible damage impact was assessed and transmitted to emergency responders. Brad Choate, KMOX News.
A new study finds water fluoridation does not impact birth outcomes. Columbia University professor Matt Nidell and his team studied 11 million births over a 20-year period when many communities started adding fluoride to their water and found no evidence to support any changes in birth outcomes.
We didn't find evidence to support any changes in birth outcomes, either in birth weight or gestational length.
Health Secretary RFK Jr. opposes fluoridated water, considering it industrial waste linked to health issues. The American Dental Association says it cuts down tooth decay by 25%. The mother of one of Elon Musk's children is suing his company. Ashley St. Clair says XAI's Grok chatbot allowed users to create sexually exploitive images that caused her humiliation and distress. X announced last week that Grok would no longer be able to do that after global backlash over sexualized images and women and children that it created. From the business desk sponsored by Krentz Financial Group, KFGadvisors.com. And the restaurateur of the year is Andy Karandziff of Crown Candy. The St. Louis chapter of the Missouri Restaurant Association has recognized Karandziff for his commitment to his North City neighborhood, Crown Candy's longevity and tradition, and his leadership and dedication to the restaurant industry. Crown Candy has been in his family for 113 years.
More and more sunshine this afternoon, becoming breezy and not so cold. Our late day high 42. Increasing clouds and remaining breezy tonight, though 32. It'll be breezy tomorrow with clouds giving way to sunshine, the high in the mid-40s. Thursday, sunshine through high clouds, the high temperature 38. From the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk, I'm AccuWeather meteorologist Joe Lundberg on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's sunny downtown, 25 degrees, feels like 12. The weather sponsored by Meadowview Memory Care. I'm Debbie Monterey, KMOX News.
Discover Meadowview Memory Care in Arnold, a small, secure community on a beautiful campus. Enjoy peace of mind with all our inclusive rates and comfortable private suites. Schedule your tour today at rspseniorliving.com.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM KMOX.
It's hour 3 of 3, Chris and Amy Show. Then the Gas House Gang at 12. We've got Bernie Miklas with me.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to check in with Tom Ackerman.
Oh my gosh! Do you think I bet he never went to bed.
No, he had to have.
He's on one.
Well, yeah, his team just won a national championship. He went down to Miami for it. He's going to join us at 12:30.
What is it called? Is it called a bender?
Yeah, it's called a bender.
That's what he's on.
Like the when the Blues won the Stanley Cup.
I went on a bender.
You did.
I did. I didn't go to bed.
That's not a bender.
I didn't drink at all.
That's a bender.
But I caught a flight.
A bender is when you stay up for like a day or two and you're drinking the entire time. That's a bender. So what the Blues do when they get the cup and they're taking the cup around the city, they are on a bender. You know who I think it really sucks for is the keeper of the cup.
Yeah.
Who has to stay with the cup.
I think he loves it.
I mean, you don't get a chance to sleep.
If I said, Ron, your only job is to celebrate with a championship team, professional athletes, you're like, oh, but I want to go to bed. You're a loser.
I don't know, man. I mean,
you know who's
you got to sleep sometime.
You know who's not a loser?
Scott McFarlane.
That's right.
Scott McFarlane, CBS News correspondent, is with us now on 104.1 FM KMOX. Scott, good morning. How are you?
I'm good. This is the nicest thing anybody said about me in like a month. Thank you both.
Are you getting a lot of rude things being sent to you?
Oh, I'm a mainstream journalist in a politically charged time. Rude is an understatement.
Okay.
All right.
We're glad that we could be on the nice end for you.
Yeah.
So. Good to be here.
People don't worry, Scott. People think we're journalists. We're not.
We're not.
We're opinion givers, but
Yeah.
So, okay. I saw this getting like completely serious now. A 180 here. I did read the story in the Wall Street Journal that looks at ICE specifically in Minnesota, and I'm going to lay out a couple of facts here from that Wall Street Journal story for our listeners, and then I know you've been covering this in depth, so I want to get your thoughts on it. But as the Wall Street Journal points out, over the past year, the DHS has pushed personnel into what they say one liberal city at a time with high-profile immigration actions. However, what's happening in Minneapolis is different. 3,000 federal officers are operating in and around a city of just 430,000 people. Compare that with a few hundred that were sent to Chicago, a population of 2.7 million. On top of that, ICE officers in Minnesota and elsewhere are under pressure for daily arrest quotas that leadership has set at 3,000 a day, the number it would take to reach 1 million arrests in a year. So that number of ICE officers in Minnesota with that quota, Scott, sounds like that could explain some of the tensions that we're seeing.
Think about those numbers. Those numbers are startling. A 3,000 federal agent deployment into an American city that only has 500 police officers. I mean, that's the number that the public officials think is necessary to keep everybody safe. Well, the feds have just dumped 6 times that many in federal agents, and they're provocatively flirting with the idea of sending 1,500 U.S. troops, military into the city. If that was to cool off or calm things down, it's obviously had the opposite effect, where it has seemed to have triggered or initiated more protests. Now, our reporters on the ground in Minneapolis say the protests you are seeing images of on your phones, on the news, are very localized, very isolated, and do not permeate the entire city. I mean, it's -5 degrees there. Just how many people do you think are out and about protesting right now? It's limited. But if ICE was supposed to cool things off, it seems to have had the opposite effect.
So with the tensions being heightened as a result of this and their tactics, which is just, I mean, it's sort of inflamed people, regardless of what side of this you politically look at this from, this has escalated things, them being where they are and conducting business the way they have. How is the public overall responding? And we're talking about the protests, but that doesn't speak for everybody who lives in that area.
Yeah. I think the most telling number I've seen so far is from our CBS News polling that was released on Face the Nation Sunday, which said a majority of Americans, more than 50%, think ICE is making things less safe. It's not an overwhelming majority, but if a majority of Americans think American law enforcement agents sworn to protect America is making things less safe, it's a pretty damning indictment of how this thing is playing politically for the Trump administration. And though politics are not the primary concern, they are all concern. And you need to have public support if you're going to deploy federal agents into U.S. communities to, in some cases, arrest U.S. citizens. Not going well for the president. And this is an issue in which he seems to have been bulletproof in years past.
Scott, to that point, as the Wall Street Journal notes in this story, ICE has never come close to meeting the daily goal of 3,000 arrests a day, but officers are rewarded for making arrests, quote, even if the immigrants they take in are later released. I don't know how
difficult threshold. I mean, you try to get 3,000 a day, or a metric like that seems actually impossible, especially in a city the size of Minneapolis, no matter how many people you put on the streets. But I think that's also what you just said, I think, is informing the political problem here. This is not playing well, even with Republicans, even with people who voted for the president. It's not universally being denounced, but this has become a political pariah for the president. So they have to change the narrative, change the story, or change the visuals. And I think they're about to try to do that. I think in the next day or two, look for a big press conference in Minneapolis. But the Attorney General, the FBI Director, maybe the Homeland Security Secretary, maybe even like the Vice President on the ground in Minneapolis announcing some type of initiative or some type of accomplishment. And it could be that church disruption you saw maybe on social media Sunday, where they disrupted a church service with the idea that one of the pastors was one of the immigration agents or immigration leaders. I'd expect charges, criminal charges in that matter in the next day or two. And they may try to make a meal of that to change public opinion or try to galvanize some support, at least from their base, on this effort in Minneapolis.
So that particular incident is getting a lot of attention now, and former CNN host Don Lemon is involved in this too, and the Department of Justice is investigating. So what is the story there?
So how do you make a meal of this church protest if you're the Trump administration and make that the headline when there's so much other chaos going on in Minneapolis, some of it at the hands of the immigration agents? Well, you try to find a high-level defendant. And I think it wouldn't surprise me if they try to make a legal case against Don Lemon for having some linkage to the church protest we saw Sunday. Doesn't mean that Don Lemon should have any criminal culpability, but they may give that a shot. They may try to get a charging document. They may even try to get a grand jury to approve something. In this moment, in this Trump administration, grand juries have not been greenlighting everything. They've been resisting, pushing back, but they could give that a shot, and it could happen as early as today or tomorrow.
So they are going to investigate this, are investigating this. The Department of Justice, however, has decided they are not going to investigate the shooting of Renee Good from a couple of weeks ago, even though and then they also had, in the meantime, really stood in the way of Minnesota trying to do the same thing. Minnesota, the state, was trying to investigate. The Department of Justice got in front of them on that. So there's going to be no investigation whatsoever on that incident?
As it stands now, there will be no investigation of the shooting or the federal agent. That's caused some concern inside the office. At the U.S. Attorney's Office in Minnesota, it caused about a half dozen, at least so far, federal prosecutors to quit. And it caused some resignations in the Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice in Washington, D.C., as there have been concerns about that decision. I would say that's a minimum. There could be more people who stand down, so long as that remains the case.
You know, I do keep going back to Minnesota because it is in the news. And the thing is, the rate of undocumented immigrants, illegal immigrants in Minnesota is actually lower there than it is in other areas. And in fact, they have far fewer people who are in the country illegally than maybe New York or Texas and Florida, which have not seen comparable enforcement surges. So we know Minnesota's being targeted for one reason or another, whether it has to do with the stories about the Somali community and like the fraud that was there, or maybe just anger against Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. But it does feel targeted. And at the same time, what I can't get over, Scott, is that the ICE immigration officials, they are rewarded for making arrests even if those people are released, which to me seems like a recipe for disaster and increasing really bad conflicts.
I think that's going to infuse all of this with nitroglycerin. If there's an acknowledgement, or at least a risk, that U.S. citizens are being scooped up in an effort to crack down on undocumented immigrants, it's going to play into a narrative that critics have already put out there, that the administration is arresting first, asking questions second, which is really a larger theme of an administration that has had any number of political retribution prosecutions where they charged James Comey and Letitia James in cases that were thrown out of court. They're seeking to investigate the chair of the Federal Reserve without maybe there being any grounds to do so. I think this is in line with that. I think this is infusing all of this with a frustration among people who live and have long lived in Minneapolis.
Scott MacFarlane, we love talking with you. We appreciate you joining us today. Thank you.
Anytime.
Scott with CBS News, justice correspondent there, and a friend of the show. So,
Yeah, I do recommend people read the story in the Wall Street Journal. It's the standoff that has turned Minnesota into a tinderbox. And Ranj, when we talked earlier, over the past couple of weeks about it is the responsibility of a leader to communicate clearly, but then the laws, but then also or any programs they may be doing, and then to enforce those laws in such a way that you can even persuade people to join you in the efforts, to make it something with maybe some people want to comply with because they say, okay, I see the reason behind this. To do it in such a way that you reduce conflict, you reduce clashes in a way that is not intentionally built on intimidation and fear and antagonism and pugilism, because not only does it put your citizenry at risk, but it puts the law enforcement officers at risk. If you cared about the law enforcement officers, you would want to enforce the laws in such a way that they don't create a spectacle. And Donald Trump is obsessed with power and spectacle.
Well, I think that a lot of us do agree with the idea that something needs to be done about immigration, the border, all of those things need to be secured. There's no disagreement on that. Very, very few people, percentage-wise, think the opposite. But if you're just creating an atmosphere, creating an environment where things are going to pop off, that's what the federal government has done. People keep pointing to Obama and, well, he deported all these people. Yeah, but he didn't create this. He didn't make it like this. That's the problem with what's going on right now. It's Chris and Amy on KMOX. You can check in via the Odyssey app if you want. Call or text 314-436-7900. Gas House Gang at 12 o'clock on KMOX.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. Last year, more clients hired Morgan & Morgan than ever before. We now have more offices, more staff, and more lawyers than any other injury firm in the world, protecting America, fighting for you.
Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
Too many tools, too much stress, and way too many bills.
Odoo replaces it all. One connected platform for every part of your business, so you can work faster, smarter, and for less. Odoo, the only software you'll ever need. Try it free today at odoo.com. That's ODOO.com.
This is the story of the one. As an HVAC technician, he and his digital multimeter are in high demand. So when a noisy office HVAC turns out to be a failing blower motor, he doesn't break a sweat. With Grainger's easy-to-use website and product information, he selects the product he needs to keep everything humming right along. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Barnes Jewish Hospital and WashU Medicine physicians have long been leaders in heart and vascular care. Now, we're taking the patient experience to another level by opening our new state-of-the-art patient tower, designed specifically with heart patients in mind. By combining the latest technology with thoughtful design and private rooms, heart patients can experience faster healing, reduce stress, and improved outcomes. Learn more at barnesjewish.org/heart.
Hey, St. Louis City SC fans, mark your calendars now. The Boys in Red return to Energizer Park to kick off Season 4 Saturday, February 21st. And you could be there for the dawn of a new golden era of St. Louis soccer. Go to stlcitysc.com/tickets and reserve your seat now for the MLS home opener versus Charlotte FC. Limited quantities remain. See you soon, St. Louis.
Revitalize your bathroom with big savings at Lowe's. Get up to 40% off select vanities and free delivery during our bath savings event. Plus, get up to 40% off select shower heads. No matter what style you're looking for, we've got you covered. Shop for your bathroom refresh at Lowe's. We help, you save. While supplies last, selection varies by location.
Hey, can you blow up some balloons for Jack's party?
I can't. I'm so congested.
You need Sinex Saline from Vicks.
Sinex Saline Nasal Spray?
Yeah, just Sinex. Breathe.
Sinex Saline instantly clears everyday congestion associated with colds and year-round allergies with a gentle, ultra-fine mist that's no mess and easy to control.
Daddy, we need more balloons.
On it.
Enjoy life's important moments without congestion. Try Sinex Saline from Vicks. Just Sinex. Breathe. Use as directed.
Hi, this is Bob Ramsey. Congratulations to KMOX, home of the Billikens, 100 years strong as the voice of St. Louis.
We have been telling you, for what now? Years to use the Odyssey app and leave us voice
Probably
messages.
20-something years, maybe 30.
Amy, the app isn't 20 years old.
Oh. I must be thinking about something else. 30 years?
No.
Oh.
The app, the Odyssey app, the app that you use, you
Yeah.
put it on your phone to listen to the show
Yeah,
live.
yeah.
KMOX, listen to Cardinals baseball during the season, listen to the podcast later. That app.
Mhm.
You know what else you could do with it?
Puff it out and throw it in the river.
No. Still don't know what that means.
That was from Matt Pauley, by the
But
way.
we say that you can use it to leave us a voice message like Scott in Maryland Heights.
Hi, this is Scott from Maryland Heights. I have to agree with the other callers. The inspectors are a total disaster. Maybe that's why we can't get any restaurants or shopping here. We have the most undeveloped land in St. Louis County along 141.
So
wow.
I wonder if this has to do with Brian, the Maryland
Well,
Heights
we got a
inspector. That
texter,
everybody, people have been texting us about this guy Brian in Maryland Heights, who must be a real pain to work with. I don't know why, but people text over and over again. Here's another message.
Hi, this is Scott again. Is there any way you guys could get a hold of Maryland Heights Mayor Mike Moeller and maybe have a conversation with him to see what the hell's going on over here? We can't get any restaurants or shops built in this city because of the inspectors, I take it. Maybe he's got another answer.
All right.
Okay, thank you, Scott, for
Scott
calling
is
in
really
twice.
upset.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Scott again.
Oh, no.
I'm moving out because the city's going backwards. Thanks again.
Okay, what? Is he talking about Maryland Heights? He's leaving now?
Sorry, this is Scott again.
Oh,
I
my
forgot
God.
to tell you. Don't let them use it's in a floodplain excuse. Chesterfield Valley, where all the shopping is and restaurants, was under 15 foot of water in 1993. Planes were actually floating out there. So let's get Maryland Heights developed.
Okay.
First
you would
of all,
think in the name Maryland Heights that it wouldn't be a floodplain.
thank you, Scott, for your
Yeah.
enthusiasm.
Sorry, this is Scott again.
Oh, no. Okay, come on, man. Again? Wait, Scott, hold on. Have they been in Maryland Heights talking about floodplain? Where
I don't know.
Isn't Maryland Heights kind of on a hill?
If you are the mayor of Maryland Heights, Mike Moeller, is that who he said? Mike Miller? I can't remember. In one of his 4 calls.
I don't know.
If you are the mayor of Maryland Heights, you can feel free to call in. Do you know Brian the inspector? And are they not building restaurants because it's a floodplain?
Why does everybody hate Brian from Maryland Heights?
That's so mean. He's a real guy.
Yeah, I mean, he might suck. I don't know.
What if he's great? What if it's a bit?
Well, it doesn't sound like he's great, according to all the texters and callers.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. But we need to get to the bottom of this Brian and Maryland Heights guy.
Yeah. Well, thank you, Scott, for calling in 4 times. We really do appreciate it. Leaving us a message, actually, on the Odyssey app, like you said. At any rate, yep, if anyone listening is the mayor of Maryland Heights or knows the mayor of Maryland Heights, give us a call, 314-436-7900. Hey, quick thing just while...
Would you rather, real quick, talk to
gosh.
Brian from Maryland Heights, Brian the Maryland Heights
Yes,
inspector,
then
or the mayor?
Probably Brian.
Yeah, me too. I need to find out why everybody hates him.
Right. I feel like Brian has more to defend. Real quick, we'd love to hear from you on this since we are talking about municipal issues. I feel like the most dystopian, hellish, terrible, gross thing I can think of are data centers. And there are threats of them popping up everywhere. Remember, they were going to turn the Armory in Midtown into a data center, and now they said, oh, wait, how about we turn the Armory into a tech office building with workers, which is fine.
That's better than what they were proposing.
But then, famous bar, that building, the famous bar Macy's building,
Yeah,
that will be the data center.
because it's the Goodwill building, right? Isn't that the
think-
same
I don't
thing
know.
that's right next door?
Don't put me on the spot like this, because now I feel stupid.
No, I think that Goodwill building is the same as the famous bar building. Because it used to be like, if I remember right, and correct me if I'm wrong, when I was a child, that was like a famous bar outlet kind of thing.
Could you get? Was down there.
No. Could you get furniture? I have this memory of being in that building and somebody in my family looking for furniture. I think it was my parents.
There's a famous bar warehouse, says Frank Ladd.
The warehouse. That's what we're talking about, right next to the armory.
Okay, so there's that. Well, then we also found out that in Festus, they had a secret meeting about putting a data center in Festus, and it has sparked a heated debate at the city council meeting because allegedly they had a walking quorum because all of the city leaders were texting about a potential data center. And the reason why they found that out is because Channel 4 found out through a Sunshine Act that city leaders in Festus had been talking about this data center, which you're not allowed to do. These need to be in public meetings. And now they've proposed another data center in Franklin County next to the gorgeous Shaw Nature Reserve, which Matt Pajeski has said is one of his favorite places.
I love hiking there. It's a great spot.
I
feel like you're in the middle of nowhere out there.
We need to rile up the people and fight these data centers tooth and nail. I'm against them.
Always?
Always.
Okay. See, I don't know that I can get on board with that.
All of them. You are going to, like, now I know Ameren said they'll pay for the extra electric bill, allegedly.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know. We'll see. So apparently,
I'm sure they'll pass I'm sure they'll pass that on to the rest of us somehow, divided.
Yeah, and if you're Franklin County, I don't know how this affects wells or the sewer systems because I've seen where data centers do pollute the water. And you could say, Amy, you are just fear-mongering. Probably because I'm scared of this. I really don't like the data centers. In all seriousness, they look dystopian. When you see these giant cement buildings surrounded by nothing, it's desolate. And then there are homes right there.
I am more concerned with a data center that is close to farming or close to where people live.
Which is Festus and Franklin County and Midtown.
And I mean like in the immediate proximity because we have seen stories and people firsthand testifying, hey, look at my water pressure now. They turn on the faucet in their kitchen and it does nothing because the data center nearby is taking all of the water. So I have a problem with that. If they could find a way to, and I know they say that they recycle the water and it's, it's not a big deal. Okay, I need proof of that though. I need you to show me in numbers that you're not actually wasting a ton of water to do this and aren't sucking resources from nearby communities. As long as you can prove that to me, and I mean proof. I want actual proof that that is not happening. As long as they do that, I'm okay with it. So I don't know what the future of this is going to be other than it is coming. And I don't know that we can hold it off. That's the thing, Amy. And it's maybe the same thing with self-driving cars. We probably are not going to be able to hold that off. It's coming.
Yeah, and I guess the way I feel about data centers is how I felt about sports gambling, which you got to do it, and it's going to bring money to the state, and blah, blah, blah. And I voted against sports gambling, and I'm against it.
I voted for it because it's awesome.
And I hate it more than I thought. And I do feel like I knew I would hate it, but I hate it even more. And I do feel that way about data centers. That as much as I hate them now, I feel like once they build them, I'm going to hate them even more.
I
could be wrong because I'm wrong all the time.
That's correct. You were right about that.
I have to give my opinion. Everyone's wrong sometimes, a lot of times.
Not this show. Remember, we're the best opinions.
I think we are.
We won an award for it. Remember?
Just spouted off
what was
stuff.
Wait, who was the award?
It was us.
No. Yeah. But what was it, NBA?
Yeah,
was it
NBA.
the Missouri Broadcasters Association? Yeah. Look at a best opinion show.
No,
or the best. We had the best opinions.
Nobody should give opinions for 3 hours a day. I disagree with my job.
It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
January in St. Louis isn't for hot takes. It's for people who know the game. From Cardinals spring training and NFL playoffs to the transfer portal and the Blues playoff push, the Gas House Gang breaks it all down. Ackerman, Ranchi, Miklas, and Claiborne have covered it all, and they break it down the right way.
This is the Gas House Gang from KMOX.
Daily at noon on 104.1 FM KMOX, America's sports voice. Now, KMOX weather from the Saliga Heating and Cooling Weather Desk.
Ranj, it's 29 degrees. The clouds are giving way to some sun. A high today of 41. Tonight might get cloudy again. A low of 30.
Wow.
Weather sponsored by Renner Garage Door, forward and back, RENNER.
Cardinal Cowboy here. Renner Garage Door has you covered. Renner's been turning garage doors from zero to hero since 1966. RennerDoorSTL.com.
RENNER. Don't get lulled into believing the IRS is getting soft. It's just the opposite. Hi, this is Lance Drury with the Lance Drury Law Firm. We are being told by IRS collection officers that their higher-ups are demanding that they get more aggressive than ever. So don't ignore them any longer. Level up. If you have unfiled returns, unpaid taxes, levies, or liens, call me, Lance Drury, today and let me get between you and the IRS. I'll protect your rights. At the Lance Drury Law Firm, our practice is focused 100% on fighting the IRS. Remember, IRS problems are legal problems, and they need to be handled by an expert attorney who's done it for decades. So call the Lance Drury Law Firm today. We're local. Our office is right here in St. Louis. Call 314-260-6120. Visit Lance, DRURY law.com to schedule your free consultation with your local tax resolution law firm.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
We're here at Menards Bag Sale, asking shoppers what they're putting in the bag to get 15% off.
Paint, batteries, tools, toilet paper,
extension cords, grocery items,
hardware for my cabinets, snack items, crackers, and some canned goods stuff.
Shop vac supplies, toothpaste, cereal, coffee, dog treats. I've got a lot of stuff to grab.
The list goes on, but the sale ends January 24th. Hurry in for Menards 15% off bag sale. See store for complete details.
Save big money at Menards.
Wesley is a truck driver.
I drive a truck and I love what I do.
A truck driver with IRS troubles.
They told me I owed them $43,000.
It got really bad.
Quite a few letters in the mail. They were talking about wage garnishment, coming after my house, my car. Yeah, they don't play around. I seriously thought that I was going to lose everything.
One sleepless night, Wesley finally made a call to Optima Tax Relief at 2 a.m.
Kind of figured I'd get a machine, but I didn't. I actually got to talk to an actual person in the middle of the night.
He found just what he was looking for.
Oh, they were great people. You need a team of people that know what they're doing. Optima Tax, they know what they're doing.
Optima Tax Relief came through with flying colors.
I saved an incredible amount of money. Happy don't even come close. I was absolutely overjoyed.
Take Wesley's advice.
If you're in any kind of trouble with the IRS, call Optima Tax Relief. Don't trust anybody else.
Call Optima for a free consultation. Call 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269. 800-348-0269.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Tonight, it's men's Pelicans basketball action as they face Duquesne. Pre-game 5:45, tip at 6 on your home for Pelicans basketball. KMOX.
Text messages, leave them 314-436-7900. As Amy and I just mentioned, we have the best opinions or whatever, according to the Missouri Broadcasters Association. Oh, just one opinion? Yeah. Anyway, a text message here says, did you offer to give your award to Trump? No, we did not.
Oh, we should.
We should bring it to him. Because it's here. Well, the plaque is here. If we offer it to him and give it to him, does that mean he's going to be nice to us, or will he turn on us someday?
Well, he'll be nice to us until we say something negative.
Is there any precedent for knowing what he might do in that case? Let us know.
Also, quick note that Scott, who called in multiple times about Maryland Heights, people are texting in and said, well, he's talking about not about Maryland Heights, but about Creve Coeur Bottoms.
Creve Coeur Bottoms?
What is this, SpongeBob?
What do you mean, Creve Coeur Bottoms?
That's the floodplain.
What? Did you know about that?
I didn't know about Creve Coeur Bottoms. Apparently, it's along Maryland Heights Expressway between the Page Extension to Hollywood Casino, which I've driven that a lot. That's where the Blues practice, in the Bottoms.
Right there in the bottom.
Oh,
okay. I have to tell you, I get a little confused sometimes with Maryland Heights and Richmond Heights and Creve Coeur. They're all kind of...
Well, Maryland Heights and Richmond Heights is not confusing at all, but Maryland Heights...
It kind of is.
It's
They're
not,
both named
though.
Heights.
And Creve Coeur, they're closer. They're closer.
Yeah, I guess they are closer.
All right. What do we do? Are we doing the thing here? Would you like me to read what I
would love to do the thing, whatever it is you're talking about.
Well, it's difficult not to talk about the whole Greenland thing.
Okay.
Because I believe it's certifiably insane and impeachable to threaten a NATO ally because you want the land and you want them to give it to you. And all the other allies have to be on your side and help pressure Denmark to give Greenland to you. Otherwise, you're going to place tariffs on them. And maybe, I don't know, maybe you'll use military force. I mean, this is, I think it is highly, highly concerning. And I was listening this morning very early to the Dispatch podcast with Steve Hayes and Jonah Goldberg. And one thing that Jonah Goldberg had said is that he does worry that, and he's speaking about Trump and a lot of the outlandish things that he's done, whether it be, a policy like taking Greenland, to his responses to the horrific murder of Rob Reiner and his wife, and basically saying they deserved it because they had Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, that's insane. That's an insane response.
Yeah.
So Jonah first said, I do sometimes worry that the familiarity with this kind of behavior is inuring us to how out of control it seems. And I think that's such a great point, because I was talking to someone who has been in politics a long time, who understands politics. And I said, this Greenland thing is a big deal. This was something that months ago, I don't know, years ago, if you said, oh, Trump's threatened to take Greenland, his supporters would say, oh, you're just falling. You're taking the bait. He's joking. You have Trump derangement syndrome. He wouldn't really do this. And then, of course, then he does it or threatens to do it. And I do think there's so much that it's easy for us to forget how many crazy things have happened. And even, with ICE and what we've seen in Minnesota. And I said, man, couldn't this Greenland thing be impeachable? Which is what Representative Don Bacon has said. But, of course, he's spoken out against Trump, and I don't think he's running again. And the person I was talking to said you could drop 20 articles.
Republican Don Bacon.
Yes.
Yeah.
You could drop 20 articles of impeachment so far with certain things that he has done. But I think it was Matt who said this. Weren't we talking in the office and you said, man, I feel like since he's become president, we're constantly asking, can he do this?
Yeah.
Can Trump do that?
Oh, it's been going on for years.
Yeah, Gulf
Yeah.
of America. Wait, can you just do that?
There's more of that in this second term, which, by the way, began 1 year ago. Today, 1 year ago.
Yeah. So, and the thing is, no, he shouldn't be able to do some of this. With the tariffs, can he do this? Guess who has the power to say, no, you can't keep placing tariffs
Congress?
on everybody? That's exactly right. And I am going to read the words of Jonah Goldberg, what he said about Congress. He said, quote, that is the thing that's just screaming here, is that Congress is violating its constitutional oath. Congress is violating its role in our constitutional order, Congress is aiding and abetting the dishonoring of America and our alliances and the weakening of this country and the violation of its principles for rank partisan self-interest. And it is outrageous. And this is a podcast. And he said, and I know congressmen listen to this and their staff listen to this. You should all be ashamed of yourselves if this ends up going forward the way it looks like it's going forward, because you will have given the permission structure for it, or at the very least, you will not have stood in the way. And history is going to consider this castrati Congress to be one of the most embarrassing and shameful institutions in American history. And I agree. And I said yesterday.
So that's from Jonah Goldberg.
Yes, the Republicans in Congress are cowards because Senator Eric Schmidt knows this should not be done, that a president should not act this way, that the executive branch cannot just rule, and I emphasize the word rule, the country by fiat. And Senator Eric Schmidt and Senator Josh Hawley, and I will say Josh Hawley's pushed back on the president sometimes, but Josh Hawley, Representative Ann Wagner, they know this. They know that this is not conservative at all, that what Trump is saying about our allies and about Greenland and then the tariffs is so damaging, but they are so selfishly and myopically committed to partisan interests and self-preservation that they are going along with it. And I think it is the Castrati Congress, and it will be remembered as the most embarrassing and shameful iteration of that institution in American history.
Well, we can't even be critical at all. And when you use the word criticism or critical, it doesn't mean bashing. I mean, how many times do we hear somebody, all you do is bash Trump? It's not bashing, it's criticism. Criticism is something that when you are president or you hold an important job in the country, and this has been going on since the entire beginning of the presidency, forever, for all time, they have been open to criticism. Every president, this one, Biden, Obama, Bush, all of them, Reagan, they've all been open to criticism. It is fair to criticize presidents.
Fair and necessary.
It's fair and necessary, not by just your own party, the opposition party, but by everybody. You should be able to criticize your president. And it was Tom Tillis who was on, I forgot, I wish I remembered where the interview was, but it was somewhere in the last 48 hours. And he was talking about some policy, and he was talking about the president, and he has been critical of Donald Trump. And he made it very clear when he's like, I'm not criticizing the president. He had to say, I'm not criticizing the president, or I'm not being critical of the president. It's like, of course they're not going to push back against him if they can't even speak words. They can't even, and I guarantee you there are dozens of Republicans in Congress that wish, or they can if they want to, but they feel like they can't speak up in the way they want to speak up. They probably feel like they, people would come after them or whatever it is if they were to say anything critical of him. And if we can't even say anything critical of the president without people losing their minds over it, we're in a very bad place, because the last president got a ton of criticism and that was perfectly fine. But when it's your guy in office, he's not allowed to be criticized. That's just a crazy mindset that we need to back away from, all of us, because Biden was open for criticism and he deserved a lot of it. So was Trump the first term. So was Obama. So was Bush, both Bushes, Reagan, Clinton, all of them in my lifetime were open for criticism, and they deserved criticism at times. If we are in a place where we can't even do that, that's a very, very bad place for the country to be.
Let's say Donald Trump, up until this point, hadn't done anything out of the ordinary. He was just a fine, regular president, even a great president, just a normal, boring president. And then, out of nowhere, he sends a letter to the minister of Norway and says, quote, considering your country decided not to give me the Nobel Peace Prize for having stopped 8 wars plus, I no longer feel an obligation to think purely of peace, although it will always be predominant, but can now think about what is good and proper for the United States of America, which also, if you are America first, so maybe Trump wasn't thinking of what was good and proper for the United States of America until he got his Peace Prize. But you had a president of the United States saying, we're going to go ahead and threaten NATO allies with tariffs and bully a NATO ally into giving us Greenland. And if we have to use force, we have to use force, because I didn't get the Nobel Prize. If he had been a extraordinary, exemplary president up until that point, we would all stop. We would be appalled, embarrassed, and also think, "Oh my gosh, I think the president lost
if Biden
it."
had done this,
I think he needs to get his head examined.
So
this, like I said, this is 25th Amendment stuff, and there have been multiple 25th Amendment moments, but it's so embarrassing for our country, and it is a big deal to undermine NATO this way because you didn't get the prize you wanted.
Yeah, I'm not really a fan of that mindset alone. If that's why you're doing this, is pretty bad. I think the idea overall is not good, considering we already have a partnership with this country. There's no reason to take it from them. And then to offer, which he did explicitly, or he tossed the idea of giving each citizen $100,000 to just go along with taking the country. Are we okay with that?
Yeah.
You're an average American. You think the president's going to give people in another country $100,000 each just so they become part of the United States? You're okay with that? You're okay? I would like people to tell me if you are on that side politically. I would like to hear you defend our president giving $100,000 each to other people in other countries. Just flat out, here's $100,000 for you. Just so you could be part of the U.S. I can't imagine most people who struggle to make ends meet would be okay with that.
And lest you think the purpose of this segment was to bash Trump, it wasn't. It was to bash Congress. Because Congress could stop a lot of it.
And by the way,
Senator Schmidt and Senator Hawley and Ann Wagner, they all know it.
Yeah, they know it.
They all know
and,
it.
And Tillis, it was on CNBC, he said what I said, and his quote was, "To be clear, I'm not critical of the president. I'm critical of the bad advice he's getting on Greenland." Well, he's taking the advice. But he has to go out of his way so people don't think he's being critical. I mean, are we so soft that the president can't be criticized?
It's like Joan Cusack in Raising Helen. She goes, "Now, you're not a bad person, but this is very bad behavior."
It's Chris and Amy on KMOX.
When it comes to planning your retirement, there's a lot to think about. Portfolio management, tax planning, and retirement income just to get started. Steve All and his team at the All Financial Group focus on those things and more. Their goal is to help you achieve your goals. Call 636-230-8824 or online, yourmoneymattersstl.com.
Investment advisory products and services made available through Impact Partnership Wealth, LLC, IBW, a registered investment advisor. Insurance and annuities offered through Steve All, NPN number 153-07419.
If you need a garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are open now for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. A winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of your choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorstlouis.com.
Start your engine, St. Louis. The St. Louis Auto Show is back, and it's bigger, faster, and more exciting than ever. See the latest cars, trucks, SUVs, and electric vehicles, all at the Gamerica Center January 22nd through 25th. From cutting-edge technology to luxury rides and family favorites, this is the ultimate auto experience. Whether you consider yourself a car enthusiast or not, this event has something for everyone. More information at KMOX.com/events.
You're listening to Leaf Filter Radio, and the guru of gutter protection himself, Chris Coonahan, is here to take your most pressing leaf-related questions.
Hey, everybody, Chris here. I understand we have Ron on the line. Ron, where are you calling from?
Uh-oh. Ron, are you calling from a ladder?
Well, I was. I wanted to ask Chris what I need to do to get my gutters ready to have Leaf Filter installed.
Oh, Ron, you don't have to do anything. A Leaf Filter Trusted Pro will come out and clean out your gutters, realign and seal your gutters, and install Leaf Filter, America's #1 gutter protection system.
So I didn't need to get on this ladder?
Ron, Leaf Filter Trusted Pros are in your neighborhood and ready to help. Just visit leaffilter.com/deal to schedule your free gutter inspection and get up to 30% off.
Thank goodness. What was that site?
To get this special radio offer, go to leaffilter.com/deal for your free gutter inspection today and get up to 30% off. That's leaffilter.com/deal for up to 30% off. leaffilter.com/deal. See representative for warranty details.
Welcome back to Winter Hack Radio, the place for clever hacks to survive the season. Icy driveway? Well, try spreading sand or birdseed to help with traction. Snowy puppy paws? Well, grab a whisk, brush it off, done. Catch COVID-19? Well, just get...
Actually, there's no hack for COVID-19. But if you test positive, prescription medications for COVID exist. Ask your doctor if they're right for you. Visit PfizerForAll.com to learn more. Sponsored by Pfizer.
Do you have 3 ex-wives and your current trophy wife wants a life insurance policy 3 times the size of the policies you had to purchase for your previous mistakes? If so, you need to call Big Lou at Term Provider, 800-700-6898. Big Lou is intimately familiar with your problems, and if you're 50 or 60 years old and in reasonably good health, a $1 million policy should only cost about $100 to $200 per month. Big Lou may have a solution for your previous policies as well. You may even save enough money to lighten the load on your new $1 million policy. Remember, call Big Lou. He's like you, except he's only on number 2. Call Term Provider at 800-700-6898. That's 800-700-6898. For $1 million in term life insurance that you can live with. Call Big Lou at 800-700-6898. 800-700-6898.
The Chris and Amy Show on 104.1 FM, KMOX.
Chris and Amy on KMOX, 314-436-7900 to send us text messages. Here's one.
Yes.
That says, make the entire island of Greenland a data center. Problem solved. In all seriousness, I live in Warrenton and am 100% in favor of the data center. The tax money for schools, fire, and other city services badly needed, and it's too much to ignore. If you can, and appreciate the text, if you can guarantee that's where the money's going to go, that it will go to those things, and there won't be a drain on resources like water, and I mean like an actual guarantee that's going to happen, because once the damn thing is built, it's kind of, you can't, it's impossible to undo whatever damage it's doing. If there is damage being done, I just need to have like actual proof and ironclad legal proof that it's not going to result in this, that, or the other thing. Otherwise, that center is liable for all of those and fixing it. If you can give me those kinds of guarantees, I am on board. But I don't know they can do that.
See, I struggle with even like the aesthetics of it, if it's by where people live. I think and I get Amazon is so convenient. I get it. The Amazon warehouses are dystopian to me because they're just these giant, block warehouses, kind of desolate. And I feel like with the data centers, I guess I would need to see the layout. How close is it to Shaw Nature Reserve? Will it bother the water supply at all? Will it hurt the ecosystem? Are you going to be able to hear the distinct dystopian hum? Are people going to see it from their homes? I just really, really struggle with the data center. And I also don't understand with AI how one day we're so focused on being green and saving the planet. The next day, we're so excited about AI, which is using an enormous amount of natural resources, sucking up electricity and water, and even keeping these things cool is very, very difficult. I forgot who said it, and because I would actually one of my friends joked about it, but basically you Google ChatGPT a recipe for blueberry muffins and imagine like 700 trees being chopped down, because especially with generative AI, how much energy it uses. I struggle with that, and I feel like we haven't seen the numbers.
And I don't know that we're going to get those numbers for a very long time. And this is a thing that I think we can spend a little more time talking about in the future, maybe this week or, just because I think it deserves a little bit of something. But I was doing this thing when you were giving weather and the temperature.
Oh, so
because you do it at the bottom of the hour. No. I thought, you know what? Let's, every time Amy gives the temperature, like 29. It is 29 degrees in St. Louis. I thought 29. Let's, who would be a famous St. Louis athlete with the number 29? Chris Carpenter is the one that first comes to mind, right?
Yeah.
So it's 29 degrees, Chris Carpenter. The other day when you said it was 40, I Googled famous St. Louis athletes who wore number 40 because I couldn't think of any off the top of my head. Here is the AI result. and this is the very first thing that pops up on the page. When I say famous St. Louis athletes who wore number 40, the very first result, AI overview. Famous St. Louis athletes wearing number 40 include Baseball Hall of Famer Ozzie Smith. Who has perhaps maybe the most famous number in the history of the city, because everybody knows it's number 1.
Yeah.
Everybody. Literally everybody.
I don't understand. But you also
This is the AI result. Ozzie Smith?
Yeah.
Huh?
You did it with multiple athletes. That the
Yes,
numbers were
and
not correct
this wasn't
at
the
all.
only one, but this is the worst one I've seen. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
When did he wear number 40?
Well, you just knocked down 27 trees.
We need to.
Hope you feel proud
So
of yourself.
if you need any reason to not trust AI results, there you go. That's one right there. It's Chris and Amy. We appreciate you listening in. We'll be back tomorrow at 9 a.m. And anything you missed is on the Odyssey app or KMOX.com. You know where to get it. iHeart app or wherever you get your podcasts. See you at 9. But coming up next, Bernie Miklasz and me. We're talking sports on the Gas House Gang on KMOX. There's some crime happening in my bowels. Is that what you're talking about?